Merry Christmas.
Guys, I don't know if I'm feeling this flyer idea.
Really?
I mean,
It's perfect, dude. How else are three guys in their late 20s supposed to make friends? There's no system in place. A flyer does all the work.
Doesn't work for us,
All right,
man.
read back what we got so far, because I don't...
Okay. What up? We're three cool guys looking for other cool guys who want to hang out in our party mansion.
Sounds a little gay.
Yeah,
Right?
it does sound gay.
You know what? Right? Nothing sexual.
Good. Okay. We're three cool guys looking for other cool guys who want to hang out in our party mansion. Nothing sexual.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another year of The Terror Table. This is episode 145, and we are a podcast that is presented by the Saskatchewan Podcast Network, who is currently sponsored by Connexus Credit Union. So this is a new year. Table is set with a brand new co-host and a fresh slate of things to look forward to in the horror world in 2020. Today we're going to be talking about doing what we normally do. We'll talk about all the things horror that we've taken in since our last episode, which was released in mid-December. Then we're going to chat some horror news, and then we'll cap the episode off with a brand new aquatic sci-fi horror film, Underwater. Which as of yesterday is now playing in theaters everywhere. So we'll give you a spoiler warning. We'll talk freely. We'll talk spoiler free for a little bit, and then we'll delve into everything. So we'll give you guys a chance to stop the episode, go out and see the movie for yourself, decide if you want to go do it or not. But with that all being said, I guess I can just let you know that I'm one of your regular co-hosts that you hear every single week, every single episode. My name is Mitch, and alongside me as always, I have my buddy
Boozy.
And for the third official episode with our brand new co-host, we have our friend
Kyle Zervinsky.
Kaiser. So
Full name.
all right.
Oh, man, a lot has happened since Black Christmas.
It feels like ages
Don't
ago.
talk
Does this not feel weird that it's been? Well, I guess it's not weird for you, but
It's been a little while.
For
but
Boozy and I, it's like we are so used to doing an episode a
Yeah.
week. This is the longest break we've taken in a while.
How long was it anyway? Was it like 3 weeks?
it was about 3 weeks, I
Yeah,
think.
3. Yeah.
And it well deserved 3 weeks after Black Christmas.
True,
Let's be honest.
Well, we just
A movie that divided a country.
Yes.
A nation.
We needed time to regenerate, to charge our batteries, maybe give a little bit of a palate cleanser, visit some of the Academy Award nominees, all that.
Right.
I think Kyle and I
It
are
is that
very
season.
we're into those types of movies as well. I think Boozy, like you like movies in general, but you'll just go see the ones that you want to see. It doesn't matter if it's nominated.
I had a conversation about this yesterday where it's like there's so much out that you really have to like pick and choose what you want.
Unless you're me, who watches
but it's like, okay, Netflix has like a new series, and then like Disney has something that just came out, but then there's also like these 3 movies, and then Netflix randomly drops a movie. It's like there's too much going on.
It is a lot. But I think the holidays in general are a time where people watch a lot of shit. Whatever it is, whatever they're into.
It's true. Well, I had 2 weeks off of work, and then leading into my new school year, and I got brutally sick. I know Kyle and I were talking about this before. We both were I was
Holy
brutally
shit, I
sick for
managed to
about a
miss
week.
that.
I thought I pissed my whole bed one night.
Yeah.
But instead it was just sweat.
Yeah.
Not just part of the bed, like every corner was piss.
Bro, the bottom left corner, which usually doesn't have piss on it, felt like had piss on it.
Oh wow!
And it was fucked.
Yeah,
That's usually a piss-free zone.
That's what I'm saying. I can at least guarantee my feet are dry.
but I don't know.
Piss upwards.
That's a good point, actually. I never thought of that. I just feel like my feet don't get the piss. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, no.
even though if it goes down the leg, I feel like it doesn't reach the feet.
Yeah. This is gravity at work, right?
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Well, I don't know. I had 2 weeks off. I was brutally sick, so all I did, I couldn't get off the couch. So in natural Mitch fashion, I honestly watched like 40 movies. So I think I'm gonna decide on how much you guys have seen. I'll decide if I'm gonna save some movies for another episode. But I have a lot to talk about. Luckily, there's only like 8 things that are horror, but I can split them up or give very brief reviews.
Whatever you got to do.
But yeah, so I don't know. Like this is crazy. Like one thing that I want to give a quick shout out is It's been really one of the coolest things about doing this show is building our community of horror fans across the world, getting to meet all these people, but also them cross-pollinating with other people. Like we've now had our friend Daniel Epler from the United States was on the latest episode of Rank and Review, which is a podcast right out of Saskatoon here.
Oh, really?
By our friend Larry Parsons. Yeah, they did a whole series. They did 6 movies on wink type movies, like movies that are kind of winking at the audience. It was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. I love listening to both of those
Henry
guys.
Winkler movies?
Yes, that's what it was. They just watched Waterboy over and over again 6 times. But no, it was great, and I think that's super awesome that Daniel reached out and got onto Rank and Review. I know Larry was excited about it because like Larry's been doing this for years, and I think he's got a great show. I think he has an awesome format. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, go and check it out. I'll be on another episode in March, which this will be the first time where I'm not tackling horror movies. I was like, man, I don't want to talk about horror movies with you. I want to do, because I know like I like horror movies, and then my second favorites are debatably my favorite type of movie is crime thrillers. Like I fucking love crime thrillers. So we're gonna be talking about those. But I also it's just on the same note as that, it's really cool that one of our Boozy and our favorite podcast, The Story of You, which is also a podcast on the Saskatchewan Podcast Network, hosted by our pal Sean Broom. He's had a few members of our little podcasting community on his show. Like David Hopkins has been on there, Boozy's been on there, Kent Blue has been on there, Jeff Thiessen. All those people have been on his show. So that's awesome that all these people from like the United States and are reaching out to our friend in Saskatchewan, and they got to know about his show through us. And I hope people are listening to the story of you find out about us as well.
Yeah.
So,
also, he recently had Biff naked.
I was just about to say
super
that's
cool.
crazy. He had
What?
Biff naked on his show.
No way.
Yeah, that's super. But he just called her Biff, so I don't know if that means that they're close friends,
Yeah,
or
for
if
sure.
she's going
That's
by
amazing.
Biff now.
He had
Yeah.
Biff naked on the show. Wow.
Dude.
Could you imagine just being like, so, Biff?
Yeah. Did you ever go through a Biff naked phase when I was
Oh,
young?
absolutely.
Oh God,
My
Yeah.
sister is a huge
Me
Biff
too.
naked fan.
Tara was a huge. She introduced me to her, and like
Oh,
I
for
loved
sure.
that.
Remember,
Daddy's
I think it
getting
was
married.
I think it was a video for like Tango shoes where she just driving
Yeah.
around in a tank. I'm pretty
That's
sure.
exactly the one I'm thinking of, actually.
I got the Biff naked. My sister got the Biff naked CD for Christmas the same year that I got an N64. So I got an N64.
So you were
with,
trying to put the CD in
Well,
because you were
no.
a smart kid.
My sister fucked hard with like Gorilla, like the band she was in before Biff.
Oh
Naked.
yeah, I think that's what Tara was into too.
And
but-
then I don't know. Then I think out of nowhere, like Mush Music had a Biff naked video on like every day.
Yeah.
like, it was just.
I don't know. I just basically
She exploded for a couple of
I
years.
played Star Wars Pod Racer on N64 and listened to Spaceman.
fucking hated that
Oh,
game.
dude, I loved it. I loved that game. But
now this is
pod
pod
racing.
racing.
yeah. But either way, it's just a lot of cool things have happened. I hope everyone had an awesome Christmas season and had some solid holidays and are prepared for a brand new, fresh new year. We're going into this new year feeling rejuvenated and excited for the things to come. So much has happened. Like, I just want to give, I don't know if you guys have watched it, but the new Netflix documentary series, Don't Fuck with Cats.
I refuse to watch it.
I haven't started watching it, but I've heard a lot about it.
So it's amazing.
Yeah, I
It's
know. I gotta check it out.
it's honestly one of the best true crime documentaries I've ever seen. But it made me realize that the world didn't really know who. It wasn't an international thing for people to know who Luca Magnotta was.
Mm-hmm.
So people missed all of our awesome jokes about calling Boozy Luca Magnotta for the first like 10 episodes of this show.
That's kind of uncalled for. I don't condone.
It was
these
on our
jokes.
very first episode.
That was a
'cause
pre
It's
Kyle
just because
era.
I
He
just
dyed
'cause
his
I
hair
dyed
blonde.
my hair.
he dyed his hair blonde.
I know. I
so we
feel like
called
we're a
him-
lot more positive.
You had blonde
now.
hair?
I
Yeah.
sure did.
Yeah.
It's kind of a Kristen Stewart type look.
No. Okay. It was for Halloween, and my
Right.
friend made me a jacket from Drive, and then I had the blonde hair, and I went
that's cool.
to I think I went to Mitch's concert
did,
dressed
yeah.
like Ryan Gosling.
See, that's pretty cool.
But I don't know. Yeah, so I just want to quickly say too, like that came out while I was still working and everything. So the guy that I work for, my friend, my boss, whatever you want to call him, he was I was mentioning to him like how we went to a house and there was like in Saskatchewan we're covered with hunters. Like people are hunting all over the place, and I think whatever. I understand where I'm getting my meat from. I'm a meat eater. I just don't like hunting personally. It's just not my thing.
Freaks me out.
It freaks me out,
Freaks
and
me out.
I don't like real violence, real blood. So we were at a house, and like outside, I was like, "What's that smell?" And I looked over, and it was a moose head because the guy was
Oh.
making moose jerky.
Still
and
like a 12 pack.
I don't know, but no, stop. But I was just like that. Really, I'm like, man, it bothers me. I don't like seeing that stuff. And then my boss was just like, man, you can watch all this fucked up shit and like you're
It's
obsessed.
true, we're-
You're
we're-
obsessed with
yeah,
horror.
yeah. That is
but
weird.
I'm like, man, it is completely different. I'm like, people who
I get
truly
it, but
love
it
this
is
stuff,
very different.
We're like actual pussies. We
But
can watch like
I can't handle real violence.
You ever
Yeah,
seen
And-
those photos like of like what is it, like vegan hunters, and it's like guys holding a fuck ton of carrots?
That's awesome. But no, like I can't handle real violence, and specifically anything to do with animals, and that's
Yeah.
what the whole basis of Don't Fuck with Cats is. There's some uncomfortable stuff that you can just skip past in the first episode when it gets to that part.
Right.
Skip past it. The rest of it, you'll be good. But
Right.
it is a fascinating documentary about Luca Magnotta and the people who helped find him, which are just a couple cat lovers online who came across this video.
was
of
it
him.
Reddit?
No,
wish
I
it
don't
was
think it
Reddit.
was.
Like Reddit's really
might
good
have
for
been.
that.
When
But-
they hunted down Shia.
Yeah.
Dude, these two people are straight up responsible for Luca Magnotta being caught, and it's
that's
unbelievable. And it's just because they love cats, and they caught him after he had already murdered a person. But it's just so fascinating. But I think that's something that I was like, oh, this would have been good to talk about on the show. So I wanted to make sure we mention it, and also to remind people that we have been calling Boozy Luca Magnotta for years.
Wow.
But
I'm sorry.
I think it would have been funnier if they, like, the people who helped catch him didn't give a shit about him murdering anybody. That was just like kind of like a bonus round kind of thing.
it kind of was actually. Like when you watch it, like they were disturbed by
Yeah.
him murdering.
But the
a
cats
person.
are the main thing.
Yeah.
But dude, Luca Magnotta was a huge thing in Canada. Like I remember,
yeah,
I will
yeah.
never forget where it's the same thing with like Robert Picton. Like when
Or the Greyhound bus guy.
yeah, oh my god,
yeah,
like
yeah.
that's very very local to us. Like that shit is just horrible things happen. But I think if Luca wouldn't have been caught by those two people, I think he would have gone on to be one of the worst serial killers in history. The guy was just pure evil. But like I said, it's kind of interesting that I never realized that. Like I wonder if Paul Bernardo and Carlo Homolka are like huge in the States as
Probably
well. Like, but there's so much disgusting, terrible things that have happened in our country. But luckily we don't have it happening all the time like the U.S. does. So I apologize for all of our U.S. listeners. That sucks. You guys want to talk about some horror movies? Let's talk about what we've been seeing, what we've been doing. I'm going to let you guys go first because I have not shut up. Let's go with Kaiser or Boozy. Who are we going to go with here?
I can go first.
Okay.
I have two things to talk about. First off is a real terrible series on Netflix I watched called You.
What?
You are
think it's
watching
terrible?
You.
Yeah, that show sucks, bro.
Man, I hardcore disagree.
Is this your first disagreement?
Well, the thing
love
is,
it.
I don't think it's definitely not like it's not mind blowing television. It's just it's
Oh my god.
it's daytime TV for the nighttime. If that makes any sense. I don't
That's
know.
giving it a lot of credit.
It's like Wheel of Fortune, but at
Man,
night.
people love
I
it.
don't know.
Courtney loves it. I'm okay with it. I don't think it's incredible, but it's entertaining enough.
Okay, it's definitely entertaining. I watched the whole damn thing.
Did you watch season 2 as
I
well?
watched season 2.
We haven't even watched season 2 yet.
So I knew nothing about this, but then here's what happened actually. So my girlfriend asked if I wanted to watch a show called You, and I said, yeah, okay, why not? So we watched the first episode, like the pilot, and I was like, what the fuck is the guy from Gossip Girl doing? This is insane. Then we didn't watch, I think we watched the second episode maybe.
So did you watch Gossip Girl and you're shitting on You?
Yo, Gossip Girl, XOXO, that shit's good, okay?
Oh my god.
But You is exactly Gossip Girl. Like, it's just a show like that. Like, it's not...
I've never watched Gossip Girl.
It's
so.
basically
I'm
it's a
gonna
show
don't.
made for the CW 1000%. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, but so we watched like the first maybe 3 episodes of season 1, and then that night my girlfriend went home and watched the rest without me.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the first season. So I was like, I don't care. But then she wanted to continue watching, so she just told me what happened, and we started
Oh.
watching season 2.
So you're not allowed to comment. Even.
I definitely am because nothing
Dude.
fucking happened. I don't
Yes.
care about Beck. I don't care about Peach. I don't care about any of these people.
Man, so much happens
So-
in that season.
Yeah. Okay.
Why are all these characters sound like Mario Kart characters?
They basically are, bro. And then the second season, it's set in LA, and I don't even know, man. It is off the walls. It's really the one thing I'll give the show is that the plotline's very convoluted in a lot of ways, but it's relatively airtight. Like it makes enough sense even when things do get a little bit crazy. But I don't know. I did not like the show. It was just pure cheese in the way I don't like.
Yes,
I
it
don't
is.
like that kind of cheese. It's and this is a longtime Degrassi fan talking.
Yeah, and that's
So it's
Speaking of that, sorry, quick side note. All the episodes of Degrassi are on YouTube right now.
huge. Actually, I think I knew that.
like the Drake seasons
All of them.
because those are the ones I liked.
Oh man,
Next Generation.
this
was
is
awesome.
not the right place.
Is that
for
the
this.
Next Generation?
No.
Yeah, that's Next Generation.
No. The one I thought the one after was, or
No,
No,
with
it
Drake
was, Drake was Next Generation, and then they just carried
Then
on.
they brought it over called the Next Class.
Next Class is so good.
I can't get
We
into
gotta
this
talk
right
about
now.
this later.
Boozy, you were probably the guy who spiked his hair and had the bead necklaces and like the baggy skate pants.
What, are you
know
talking
what-
about Spinner?
I didn't know.
Talking about
skate-
Spinner?
Spinner, yeah, Spinner.
Honestly, I could talk about Degrassi for way too long, but that's not what I'm saying. Is I like that shit, but I did not like you. I'm sorry, everyone out there.
That's fine.
I
You're-
thought I might as well bring it up on here because I figured it was relatively somewhat relevant, but I don't know.
No, it is.
But the worst part about this is I know I will watch season 3, so just keep that in mind.
Okay.
Take it with a grain of salt that I did not like this show, but it's heavily addictive, and I think a lot of people probably feel that's the same way.
Yeah.
So-
we should do one by we'll switch around.
Oh,
Are you cool with
perfect.
That?
Then,
You wanna do it?
yeah,
Do
and
you guys want
honestly-
to get Star Wars out of the way? Like, just do a brief one because we were
Yeah.
gonna do a Star Wars episode like we did for The Last Jedi with our friend Mike Fisher, but it's gotten to the point where it's too far. Like it's happened
been a while, yeah.
fucking almost a month ago.
Those things are time
over it.
sensitive.
Not only that, but it's like I'm tired personally of talking about it. Like I'm over it. So this is gonna be very, very brief.
Sure.
And you know, there's so many different podcasts. Like if you want to listen to two guys really, really shit on it, listen to Hideous Energy. They did an episode. It's our friend David and his friend Austin who did that. So if you weren't a fan of a movie, you can go check that out. But I don't know. Like, who should go first?
Oh, I'll say.
Okay, wait. How much do you like Star Wars? Because we haven't like covered
Right.
that.
Okay. Brief history
What's
on
the best
Star
Star
Wars.
movie? There's only one answer.
I mean, like, it's got to be the second one, I think.
Yeah, Empire.
Empire's probably my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good. Everything checks.
Yeah,
out
but
here.
you weren't like a diehard like growing
Definitely
up.
wasn't.
You didn't play
Okay.
with lightsabers.
No,
and,
not even a little bit. I didn't grow
Did
up
you
with
even
Star
play
Wars.
Pod Racer N64?
I had a pod racing inflatable pool that I would play with in my backyard.
No, this is Pod Racing.
So that's the extent of pod racing for me. I don't know. I didn't grow up with it, but I always respected Star Wars,
Okay.
obviously. I only watched the original trilogy leading up to Force Awakens.
There's our answer.
Yeah,
So-
you're fine.
Yeah.
And I loved Force Awakens. I loved Last Jedi, actually. This movie's a 3 out of 5, though. This
Yeah.
is the latest one. Yeah.
So you didn't really care for it?
I actually enjoyed it. It was a great spectacle, like a good popcorn movie. A lot of moments that were kick ass, actually. But then at the end of the day, it's just it's a messy story. I mean, they really either should have only had JJ do all the movies, or
Yeah.
they should have got another director to do this because JJ just tried to basically reverse what happened with the last movie, which
They
I
had to.
which I understand why he did that, but in doing so, it makes all 3 movies they don't work together
It
now.
like nullifies it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so
I can agree with that.
I don't think it's a bad movie. In fact, I think there's a lot of enjoyable parts. But overall, it feels like a second movie in a trilogy, but it's the third. So
Yeah.
it just feels off. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you want to go or do you want me to go?
Yeah, I was actually like really looking forward to it, and I think it was a super big mess. It was such a big mess, and like, sorry, I haven't really had a chance to talk about this with anyone, so I'm just gonna try. I'm gonna try and do it as quick as possible.
Tell us how you feel.
Every plot point was resolved so quickly that it didn't matter, which was a huge problem for me. Because like I understand what you're saying, that it was like it felt like a second in a trilogy, but I just felt like it was like a tie-in for every other one that just ended it so quickly. It was like, oh no, something happened, and then like 2 minutes late, like literally, like it was as fast as possible. And I always say like the Chewie storyline in this is like a good example. Is like,
Right.
oh no, oh wait, oh yeah, okay, we're fine. Like no storyline really mattered.
That's the key point I would have changed about the movie, actually, is I have a theory, but I can't do it because some people still haven't seen it.
yeah,
But
and then-
I have an idea
And
Yeah.
then,
what I
like,
would have
out
done.
of all the ideas you could have done for Snoke, I think that the back storyline that ends with Palpatine, like, is so fucking stupid because it's
don't know.
ridiculous, but I love
but it
Palpatine.
completely
I did too. I
nullifies
did
the
too.
second one, because then you go like,
Yeah.
why was
Totally.
Snoke trying to kill him or kill Rey if the whole plan was in the third one is what it was?
Well, it was all a test. I don't know. I guess the thing is, to be honest, a lot of the plot lines I think could work. In
Yeah.
fact, I would say most of them could work. It's just messy. It's messy. And the Chewie part you're talking about, I think it was Red Letter Media I heard talk about it. They're like, that's where the second movie should have ended.
Yes.
What's going on with Chewie? And then cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Then it goes into the third
Yeah.
part, and whatever gets resolved.
Yeah,
So
it's
let's-
such
let's
huge
talk
egos
about-
playing in the same arena.
A couple cool things. Babu Frick was super cool.
Babu Frick
Huge.
is awesome.
Loved it. Best part of the movie.
I loved evil C-3PO for like 2 minutes. That was really cool. We got to see Porgs for a second.
I fucking love porgs.
Yeah, the porgs,
Oh, dude.
porgs are the best part of
Porgs
The Last Jedi.
are so fucking cute.
But like, okay, I have one point and then I'll let you go. Just one last point.
Porgs are cuter than Penn Badgley. Sorry.
Have you guys have finished The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
You know, like, okay.
Don't spoil anything.
No, this isn't. But like, every time you see a stormtrooper in Mandalorian, there's like a certain relevance to it where you're like, oh, those are cool stormtroopers always seem cool to me.
I also
Yeah.
love how they take the piss out of themselves in The Mandalorian.
Yeah,
That's like
but
one of my favorite
But the
parts.
thing is that like they're such an iconic image, and they always seem like, even though you watch them get destroyed all the time, they still have that aura of like being like scary and
Yeah.
cool.
Right,
Do-
yeah.
Do you know what I
They're
mean?
intimidating.
Absolutely. I know what you mean,
Exactly. Yeah. And like in the Mandalorian, it doesn't
Even though they
really-
can't shoot.
Yeah, in the
the best
Mandalorian,
part
you
of
see
Mandalorian.
like four different kinds of stormtroopers, and you get like death troopers, which are super cool. But like the problem with the last Star Wars movie is it takes that idea and tries to do it with Star Destroyers and the weapons. You guys know what I'm talking about, like
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
weapons
yeah.
of mass destruction that they have. And I feel that it actually cheapened that so much.
Totally.
Because something like that, you're like, oh, so every one of these things is a mega killing machine when you should have had one main boss. It treated Star Destroyers like stormtroopers is the problem. When you have something bigger like that, you have to like raise the stakes on it. So yes, visually it looked really cool and it was like dark and you see all these Star Destroyers, but
Yeah.
then you think about it and you're like, that's kind of fucking stupid. It cheapens the whole thing for me. And that's pretty much all. Is like
I agree.
I didn't think it was a very
Absolutely.
good movie.
So everyone knows after all these episodes, I'm like just a fucking nut about Star Wars. Like I love Star Wars, and I'm going into age 30 this year. I'm trying.
Uh-oh.
That's why this is a caveat, not only for Star Wars, but the whole show and my whole outlook in general. It's something I'm trying to change. So I'm trying not to be so passionate to the point of being a dick about stuff. And I know that I've come across that way about The Last Jedi. So
And I
loved.
actually liked The Last Jedi.
I liked it too.
a lot.
I loved.
I loved it more than the last
Totally.
one.
Me too.
I loved The Force Awakens. I would put The Force Awakens in probably in my top 10 favorite movie experiences of the last decade because I had
such a
so
great
much
time.
good time. And
Same here.
it delivered for me. It was what I wanted. It's what I needed from Star Wars. I needed them to get back on track with what. And so I know it's a retread of A New Hope and everything.
We don't care about that though. Like,
Exactly.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. That's my second favorite Star Wars movie,
Yeah.
by the way, is Force Awakens. I love that movie.
I won't. Yeah, I won't. That's cool. But like, I didn't like. I tried.
Hot take, I don't know.
I tried really, really hard to like the last Jedi, and it just did not work for me. I don't like the decisions that Rian Johnson made with the characters, and I think that having a character like Mark Hamill, who has played Luke Skywalker forever. I think if there's one person who can have a valid opinion on how you should treat Luke, it's him. The guy has lived in it, and he fucking hates The Last Jedi. And I can totally see where he's coming from. I think I was a little bit harsh on it. I don't think it's a terrible movie. I do think it's really poorly written. I think that like people are way too nice about them saying that like they were trying to, subvert expectations and change things up. I'm like, no, man, that movie was written like threat level midnight. Like the whole scene of it is so cringy. There's so many lines in that movie where I'm like, I can't believe people are eating this. Like, because like the whole Mark Hamill being like, wow, amazing. Everything you just said was wrong. Like that is Michael Scott saying, except for you forgot one thing, Golden Face, to kill me. It's the same thing. It's the same fucking thing, and it's terrible. But there are some amazing scenes in The Last Jedi. There are some really awesome scenes, and that movie definitely takes its time more than let's just get on the Rise of Skywalker. I do agree it's a fucking mess. I think that it is a mess, but I really liked it.
Did you like the Jamaican party in the desert?
I loved that was one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Like the whole battle on like when Kylo Ren shows up, that was probably my favorite part of the
Let's
movie.
just talk for a second. Is that the good thing they did in this movie was they righted the ship in Kylo Ren. I
Yeah.
felt like he was actually cool and he actually did things that helped the story.
Oh,
I
he's
also
the
haven't-
best character in this
he
trilogy.
carried that.
I also haven't pointed out it is Kylo's series. Like I think that this whole trilogy is Kylo's series.
He has the only arc, really.
I would disagree
the
with that.
best
But
arc.
yeah, he had the best arc. But one thing, another thing is that people always talk about that battle, the duel, or the battle between, it has Rey and Kylo Ren in Snoke's little red
throne
room
room
there
or
in
whatever.
Last Jedi. I truthfully think, like, everyone talks about that being like one of the most amazing moments in Star Wars. Dude, I honestly think that scene is absolute dog shit garbage. It is.
I love that
That's
scene.
a great scene.
Dude, watch it again.
The Imper-
did.
with the Imperial Guards.
It
Oh
looks
my God.
great.
Watch the Imperial Guards in the background. They're fucking idiots are doing katas in the background. They're doing
Yeah.
Star Wars kid things. They're doing like
They
that.
had to warm up.
No.
They've been standing there for
Dude,
so
it is
long.
awful. They are the worst stuntmen in Star Wars, and they are waiting for Rey to be ready to counterattack. This is not how a fucking fight happens. It is so
But it's
bad. It is so bad.
It's Star Wars.
Yeah, and
That's
Star Wars
not
has
how any
always had
fight
great
like that
battles.
happens.
Star
I
Wars
would-
has had some of the best
I
samurai
would rather
battles.
see that than them fucking bring out Lando like we gave that
I
much of a
know.
shit about.
It's true.
Oh, I
They-
did. I care about Lando a lot. I loved seeing him
they
in this
make
movie. It was
seem
tacked
like
on.
he's
But
like so important in the series.
he's massively important.
No, he's not
He
that
is- He
interesting.
is
I agree.
massively
I
important to
agree.
the series.
He's so overrated.
No, Boba Fett is overrated.
They're on the
If-
same level.
I don't-
agree.
I think
I totally agree.
Lando has like one of the most important arcs in Empire. Like the whole.
Yeah, but they tread him out in Rise like he's so fucking important. Everyone's gonna cheer when he's there.
Well, he's
I was
about to fucking die, man. I've
get
seen
the
him in
fuck-
person.
Yeah, I was
I'm
like,
same.
get the fuck off my screen.
I don't know. I think that the thing is, I think it's a mess, but I liked it. I think that it actually made me like The Last Jedi more, knowing that I can watch The Last Jedi and know that these problems will be fixed. Like, I personally, I know that that's an unpopular opinion with a lot of people. Star Wars is a very specific thing to me. The Last Jedi didn't feel like a Star Wars movie. This, yes, it was a mess. Yes, it was loud. It was busy, but it felt like a Star Wars movie. It had the spirit of Star Wars, which is what I want most from these movies. And that's why at the end of the day, I enjoyed it. I don't think it's anywhere near as good as The Force Awakens. I can understand people disliking a lot of it. There's one massive thing I fucking hate at the end of the movie that I was like, I actively, when I watched it, I went, ugh. Like, and it's to do with Rey and Kylo, and it fucking drove me nuts. I hated it, but I went to it again. So I saw it 2 times in theaters, and I liked it significantly more the second time. I feel like, as much as you mentioned how it is so fast paced, everything's happening so fast. People talk about how it doesn't have a moment to slow down. It doesn't have those quiet moments. Totally does. If you watch it again, it does. It's messy. I think the movie could have been another half hour long. I think that it was too short for what they were trying. Chapter 2 can be 3 fucking hours. So that Star Wars doesn't need to be just 2 hours.
I think they could have taken out a story because like the stuff when they were on, or when Rey went to the like broken down Death Star.
Yeah.
Super cool. Loved the lore in that. I loved how like slowed down that was.
A lot of people shit on that too. They're
I
like,
love
fuck
that.
another Death Star
I think that's
scene.
fine.
I thought that was
Yeah.
all fun stuff,
Yeah,
but
totally.
it's like that slow part was awesome. But then they had so much stuff where they had to wrap all these stories up so quickly that bothered me.
It does.
and
They
also-
spend way too much time trying to rewrite the last movie, in
And
my opinion.
they also like I think one of the biggest problems with it is they over explain the logic with Palpatine, and it is just stupid. It's at the end.
It
it's
is all
dumb.
stupid.
It's
So
dumb.
don't waste your time.
Also, I know we're making this like way longer
Yeah,
than it
we
should
gotta
be,
stop soon.
but you ruined how to end Hux's storyline. I think the way they treated Hux was awful.
I think he's one of the worst characters in Star Wars.
I
history.
loved him.
I think that I honestly think that they should have taken him out entirely. But that whole
Well, they kind of did. I don't know.
He could have had an amazing story arc that could have affected the main story so much more, but instead they kind of like
slapsticky.
yeah, they like tiptoed around his storyline,
And they
because
have to
I think he could
explain-
have had a great redemption arc.
Yeah. And I know, the thing is, it is extremely on the nose when, there's a very important scene with Hux in this movie that a lot of people hate. I'm like, yeah, that is extremely on the nose, but this is potentially the most meant to be wide release movie ever made.
Yeah.
Like, it's meant for everybody. There's so many people who aren't going to pick up on that. Yes, it's annoying for us who are we're conditioned to follow these stories in a certain way. Sometimes people need to be spoon-fed some things, and I think that that's what happened there with Hux.
You can't treat Star Wars like people haven't seen the other Star Wars movies, which is what they try and do a lot of the time. Because
I think
the
they do.
canon of it is that all of us have seen all the other movies. We know what's
It's true.
When Empire, I will fully admit that Empire Strikes Back is one of my all-time favorite movies. It's in my top 4. I think that Empire is guilty of so many of the faults that this movie is being accused of as well. I think people are being way too fucking hard on it at times. both the original trilogy of Star Wars has so many problems that people will not admit to because of nostalgia and their love for it.
Sure,
and that's coming
but-
from someone who adores the stuff. Like, I would, as much as I think there are major flaws in Empire, I still love that movie and I wouldn't change anything about it because it's my childhood. It's what I grew up on.
I think it's more of a tone thing, honestly. Like, all three films have different tones.
They do.
It doesn't feel like like there was no structure, and
Yeah.
you know from the get go.
It's very rushed
Because
especially the first half hour of
we all
Rise of Skywalker. It's like, hey, where are we?
Yeah.
They're going everywhere.
And we all had a million questions after Force Awakens. Like, fair enough. And like, obviously, those expectations went into a lot of different directions on the next one, and so. Like, that's probably the biggest fault I would give it, is the tone is so different on The Last Jedi that the tone had to be even, like, radically different on Rise of Skywalker, that, like, at this point, none of these movies make any sense together at this point, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree with that.
On their own,
it's
I think
messy.
I enjoy all of them. Like, if I were to look at them as separate films individually, I actually... Like, there's something I can enjoy from all three. But if I'm going to think of this whole, like, whatever Skywalker trilogy, whatever it's called, like, it's a mess. Like, I think they should have just got a different director for this last one. I honestly think that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because JJ
but I loved
spent too much time trying to do his thing, which
Yeah.
I can appreciate. Like, I get that. Like,
And Ryan and him are so different. They're
So
so different.
different.
So, like, having to butt heads with that, like you said, it all comes down to also egos and what.
I wish there would have been at least an outline, because this film proved to us that there was never an outline of what the story was supposed to be. They were all just playing, like, stepping on lava, trying to do what they could do. Like, I don't know.
I agree.
Closing statements, just so we can wrap this up real quick. I'm just going to say I prefer Rogue One to this movie. I think Rogue One is an awesome movie, and no one gives it credit for that.
I do not like Rogue One. I'm sorry.
I know,
think-
and I've heard that
I'm
a
with you.
ton.
The thing is, I still put Rogue One.
Name one character from Rogue One.
The sad robot.
That's what I gotta say.
Yeah, it's true.
Jane Erso, get the fuck out
But
of here.
the reason I like Rogue One so much is because of the ending with the as a massive Darth
Yep.
Vader fan. It has
That's
the
a great
best,
ending,
It has
absolutely.
like the best
But
moment of Darth
it's such
Vader
a
in the
cool,
series.
contained story. That's the best part of
The
it.
only problem with it is it has the same problem as Solo, where it's unnecessary. We know what happens, so what's the point? So
Yeah,
that's
I
the
think,
thing.
I think it has
It's
more
im-
credential than Solo.
It's impossible to care about what's happening to these people in Rogue One when, if you've seen Star Wars, you know that they all fucking die. Like, that's.
Yeah, I think you're.
But it's really well shot.
No,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's a bad closing statement.
Okay, you know how like the Solo is like I'm alone. That's why I'm Han Solo. That's like it would have
That's so funny.
Okay, it would have been 10 times worse in Rogue One if they were like talking to Darth Vader and they're like, "You're Darth. What's your last name?" He's like, "Well, I'm kind of an invader, so Darth Vader."
Yeah, it's a little on the nose.
I would have been down for that.
Oh fuck.
Okay, so closing thoughts. I like Rise of Skywalker. I said that I loved it. I think that is me trying to just like I've kind of done this a couple times where I actually did with Joker too. Like, where when so many people are hating on something that isn't that bad, it really bothers me. I don't know. I don't.
It's the backlash to the hype machine.
Yeah, it is, and let's move on from it. Let's talk about horror movies. So for the rest of the time, we're talking about horror movies.
Wow.
Let's move on. So
I have whiplash from that.
who
last
wants to
part.
go? Who wants to go next? Boozy, you want to talk about a horror movie that you saw?
That's a yes.
I actually don't. Can I just finish up what I wanted to say?
Sure.
What are we talking about?
Okay. I haven't watched anything other than Star Wars since then because Black Christmas actually ruined me, where I didn't want to watch movies after.
That's sad.
So on the flip side, I've been reading a lot. So 2 quick things. I got one of the Missing 411 books. It's fucking awesome. I've been reading a lot of that. And I've also been reading Taking Shape, the Halloween book. It's massive. It's like I've been diving so deep into it.
Tara got me that for Christmas too.
It's so good. Just like so much information. So yeah, I've been reading more than I've been watching any movies, and I also got the thing Outbreak at Outpost 31. So I want to play
board
that
game?
with you guys. Yeah,
It's great. Cool.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So yeah, at the end of the day, I just want to say like Black Christmas, I really did fucking hate it, and it did ruin me, and I still have a lot of feelings about it, all negative.
See, for me, I've forgotten about it. Like, I'm over it. Like, and that's
Oh, yeah.
that's where for me, like, that's
I just
what.
didn't want to watch anything after. I'm like, what's the point?
I've seen a lot of shit in my time. And so sometimes when I see something as awful as Black Christmas, it just goes to a far place in my brain and just stays there
The
forever.
sunken place.
Honestly, it goes into the sunken place.
Yeah, no, that's one of the things that I'm trying to do. You can do whatever you want, but that's one of the things I'm trying to do is to not put so much stock. Like, in the future, I'm trying not to care so much about things that just clearly aren't for me. Like, so that's one of the things, like, for example, we'll talk about in news. There's a couple movies announced. I'm like, I hope they're good. If they're not, whatever. Like,
Right.
But
Yeah.
I'm trying to, like, I don't know. Moving on from that, I watched a couple things. I watched a lot of things. I'm going to start off with Rabid. So I watched the
Soska Sisters?
The Soska Sisters Cronenberg remake of Rabid. How
was it?
Written by John Surge. Additional writing credits to Soska Sisters. Like I said, remake of David Cronenberg. Starring Laura Vandervoort, who has physical similarities to Charlize Theron. So she's an attractive woman. She's very, very. I think she's a really good actress, and I think she does what she can with this movie. Rose is a fashion stylist who has a passion for empowering people through clothing. Like, that's just who her character is. And after a horrific scooter accident, her face is left terribly deformed. She ends up at the top.
I've been there.
Yeah, everyone can relate to that. She ends up at a top of the line medical facility that is performing experimental surgeries. And miraculously, through a form of stem cell surgery, she regains her beauty with no visible scarring or side effects. But she begins to realize that she has a thirst for human blood and human flesh. So
I'm sold. I love that.
I think there's a good chance you're going to really like this movie.
I like the premise. Sounds awesome.
There's hallucinations. Like, she's having hallucinations that may be real, or they may just be hallucinations from the surgery. The thing is, the story of this already exists in quite a few other movies, all of which are more successful in my opinion. Specifically, Raw.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like Raw.
It's very similar to Raw, but Raw is significantly better. This movie flies so fucking far off the rails, though. And in my opinion, it's not even good to begin with. But then it gets so silly. But the thing is, it has some incredible special effects, practical effects, like makeup effects. There's some really cool things that happen. I watch it with Jen and Darcy and John. So, like, Jen said it best, in my opinion. Jen said, this movie starts out like Goodnight Mommy, but it's morphing into Zoolander.
What?
Like, you have to watch the movie to understand.
Is this a recent release?
Yes, I would recommend checking it out especially if you're a horror fan and you just want to see what other people are doing. The Soskas are a controversial couple, like a couple of twin sisters who Diego and I met them in the airport. They were incredibly nice to us. I know some people have different things to say about them, but I can only go off of what they did to me, and they were extremely nice to me. And
what did they do to you?
Really took the time with me and talked to me and took a picture with me, and yeah,
that's respect.
They were really nice. And it was in an airport, so that was cool.
So we're not trying to cancel them.
No, but the thing is, they are also like.
Who are we trying to cancel? Well, never mind. We'll get there.
Okay, but the Soska sisters, they actually did one thing that I thought was in really poor taste. But they made a tweet about the new Black Christmas movie, saying, "Wow, it sounds like the only thing good about it is to laugh about it with your friends afterwards." And I think that's a really bad look on someone.
One meal right there.
No, but like they're female directors. They should keep their fucking mouths shut when it comes to that stuff. Like, you don't need to like it. Just don't fucking comment on other people's work.
Why aren't they allowed to comment on it?
Because those people still worked on that movie, and like that's going to affect them getting more jobs. I know that's a problem with the Soskas, though, is people don't want to work with them because they're kind of assholes apparently in some ways. But I don't.
Yeah, but anyone who's pushing any buttons is usually people that are making some of the most
I think that's
progressive shit.
If Ricky Gervais roasts everybody, it's okay. But if the Soska sisters roast somebody,
you're right.
It's not okay.
I agree with you. I think that is hypocritical, to be honest.
Come on, woke culture.
Let's get woke.
I personally just think they could have not.
I'm just trying to find someone to cancel.
Okay.
I don't know these Sasuke.
Let me think about it.
I don't know these Sasuke people. I'm sure they're great people. I'm not trying to cancel them, but I'm looking for someone to cancel.
I think the movie is a mess. I think it's poorly made in a lot of ways. The story's rushed in a lot of ways. I think it's not successful. I think, especially as someone who's kind of grown to love Cronenberg's work, and they're already talking about making another Cronenberg movie, and I don't want them to. I think that I don't think Rabid is an incredible movie like the original Cronenberg. I don't think it's an incredible movie.
It's a weird one. I
don't think it's one of his best by a long shot. But
just probably why they're able to remake it, to be honest.
Yeah, I would rather see these girls try and make something original. They made the American Mary movie, which is their most well known for that movie.
I like that movie.
Yeah, and if you do, you'll probably like Rabid because it's very similar. It has a lot of similarities to it. But I would like to see them. The thing is with Rabid, it's that there's a couple actors in it that I'm just like, oh, they're so painful to watch, and it's specifically the men characters. And men. But I don't know. I wasn't crazy about it.
Those guys.
I think some people might enjoy it. I also don't think it's as bad as a lot of people are saying it is. I think a lot of people are shitting on it because they don't like the Saskas. It's just an okay.
I have this reaction to stand
below-
up for these people now. I've learned. I don't know anything about them, but I'm standing up for you too.
It's a below okay movie.
Okay.
So yeah, do you want to? Do you want me to do one? Because I've probably seen more than you.
Yeah. Hit us with one. More.
I want to talk about one that I'm very passionate about. A movie that I watched.
Is it The Joker?
I do love The Joker. I watched it again last night. The Nightingale by director Jennifer Kent, director of The Babadook. So I have heard, obviously, that this movie is a succubus to your soul. Like, it just sucks the soul out of you. I can attest to that. That is 100% true. This is a magnificent movie. I loved it. The thing is, it is extremely disturbing. It's very unsettling. And it's one of those things where it could be triggering for a lot of people because the film tackles rape a lot. There's several rape scenes. There's another scene near the beginning that I think you'll know basically in the first 15 minutes if you're able to emotionally handle this movie or not. It is going to suck you dry. Like, your soul there will be nothing left to it. I went to Christmas Eve dinner with Courtney's family, and it fucked my day up. Like, because I was like just shook. It shook me to my core. I think it's beautiful filmmaking, really strong acting across the board. Specifically, the main girl, I gotta pull up her name here because I'm actually not familiar with her. But did you watch the Hunger Games movies?
I've seen the first one. Yeah.
Okay, so you never got to know Finnick. So
I was gonna say low key. I kind of like Hunger Games.
Oh, they're good.
Those were fun movies.
I enjoyed the
I didn't like
one
the
I saw.
last
I thought
two.
was okay.
Yeah, I liked the first two quite a bit. But no, Sam Claflin, who plays Finnick in the Hunger Games, he was like one of the really good-looking guys in the Hunger Games. Like, he's known for his looks.
Not Josh Hutcherson.
No, that is not him.
Sick.
But he was fantastic. He's the villain.
R.I.P. Josh. Sorry.
He's the villain in this movie, and it's heartbreaking to see everything that this woman goes through. I can't recommend it enough. I think it's one of my absolute favorite movies of the year. I want to point out that I think while last year was weak for horror movies for me, I think this was the best year for movies since 2014.
Oh, so many good
there was
releases.
like with Parasite, Nightingale, Joker, Irishman. Like, there's so many good fucking movies that came out this year.
I've seen some love for Nightingale, but I feel like it's generally been a little underrated.
I think it's because it
had a weird release too. I feel like
torturous. It's torturous to watch this movie, but it's great.
Right.
But a
strictly intense experience.
Yes, I loved it. I'm not prepared to say if it's better than The Babadook or not. Completely different kinds of movies, but it just it definitely cements Jennifer Kent as one of the really exciting.
Like, the talent we saw in her definitely checks out. Like, it's not just
God. She's not a fluke.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And it's
cool.
the same with like the Safdie. Like, I'm not going to talk about Uncut Gems because
please don't. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's not a horror movie. Fantastic. 5 out of 5.
Oh my
incredible movie. Not as good as Good Time, but it's awesome.
I know I'm gonna throw up while I watch it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Moving on from that, do you want to do one?
Yeah, I have one more to talk about.
Okay.
Well, I guess my only one was you, but anyway. So I saw In Fabric, which I think, did both of you guys see that?
No. I saw it at the film festival.
Okay,
we
so
played it at
I actually don't know your total thoughts on this here, Mitch, but
we did a film fest wound up thing. You can listen to that if you want.
Listeners, go back and check out Mitch's thoughts on In Fabric.
I was talking about you, but okay.
I can also do my homework. So I saw In Fabric. This is directed by Peter Strickland. He did The Duke of Burgundy, if anyone ever has seen that. I think that's what it's called. Let me double check. Yeah, Duke of Burgundy, which I have seen, and it's really good. It's a good like period type experience. I don't know. I don't know. The thing about his films so far, from what I've seen of his, it's they're a little genre-y. They're in a way very specific in what they're trying to get across. Sometimes absurd in moments, and In Fabric is absolutely this. It's completely absurd. The film is about I guess a haunted dress.
A24 movie?
Yeah, it's honestly a weird A24 movie. This is the kind of movie where I feel like
I don't think so.
Where they have like the guy has to like someone from A24 has to go out and buy a film, and he like accidentally bought In Fabric over Parasite. I feel like that's what happened here.
Yeah,
he went to a film festival somewhere.
Like when you're on eBay or Amazon and you click buy by accident.
Yeah, he bet a lot on In Fabric for some reason. Anyway, this movie, the things it has good going for it are absolutely its absurdity and sort of like very, very unique premise, a pretty interesting premise at that, and really goes for it and really
Really well shot too.
really well shot, interesting style and tone, sort of this like retro aesthetic. There's hints of Suspiria in here. There's
Totally.
hints of Hitchcock in here,
Yeah.
and those are definitely its shining moments in a lot of ways. It's a lot of style over substance in a way. I think easily the narrative is probably the worst part of the film, and without giving too much away, this film switches its main character halfway through.
That's where it lost me.
Yeah, it's where it lost me as well. Although I do always kind of pride films on really going there, whatever there might be, like really commits to an idea. Doesn't really land here.
Doesn't pay off.
To be honest. They try to kind of wrap a lot of things up near the end, and it works, I guess. But overall, it is another sort of like a messy situation here. I would recommend it though. I think it's the absurd moments and bits of humor and sort of off the rails, I guess horror elements in this film I think work for it, and I think it's definitely unlike anything else I saw last year, which is definitely a compliment to the film.
Yeah.
It is messy though, and it's
I would have liked it to stick to one story.
Yeah,
and really
absolutely.
nail that story. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was, as soon as I was getting into the character, it switches.
This is something I think I say too often at times, and I'm trying not to sort of think of it in this way, but I think it applies right now, and I think this would have made a good short film. This would have been a good like 35-minute short film or something like that.
Totally.
And in this case, it suffers from that because it is a little too long, unfortunately, as well. Although I think there's good filmmaking in this film and there's good ideas, but it doesn't totally work out, unfortunately.
I just don't think Strickland's thing, his visions aren't really for me. They just don't connect with me. I think,
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Also, it has Captain Phasma in it, which is cool.
Yeah, except for, man, so me and Seb watched it, and we're like, oh, what's her name again?
I actually don't know her
I
name.
can't remember her name,
I'll try to
because
find
she's
it.
Game of Thrones. Anyways, she's, yeah, we're like, oh, she's in this movie. So we're like, wait, the movie's almost done. Where is she? And apparently she was right at the beginning. She was like unrecognizable.
Gwendolyn Christie.
Yeah, she was like unrecognizable, but...
Yeah.
All right, so you're kind of lukewarm on Depraved.
I'm lukewarm, although I would recommend it. I think if you are interested in this film, it's worth checking out. The idea alone is pretty wacky, and yeah, overall it's okay, but yeah.
Cool.
3 out of 5, no heart.
Sweet. All right, I'm gonna just hammer off these ones I saw. I revisited The Grudge from 2004, starring Sarah Michelle Gellar, and so that's a movie I haven't seen since the theater. I saw it in the theater, and I remember this was one of those movies. I was watching it because I was getting excited to go see the new reboot, reimagining, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Didn't end up going to see it, and it's only partially because I saw that people weren't really liking it.
Did we do
I'm
an
just
episode on The Grudge?
No, we did one on Rings.
Ah.
And Ring You and The Ring. But no, I hadn't seen it since the theater, and I didn't really like it then, and I don't like it now. It's just the whole story. I like the idea of the story of these movies, the idea behind the lore. It just has never landed for me. I've never really connected with it in the way that I wish I could have. I think that specifically The Grudge 2004 suffers from extremely poor CGI and very bad acting. Like, I think Sarah Michelle Gellar is great in some movies. This is not one of them. And I think
she's kind of a hit and miss.
Yeah. And the acting across the board in this movie just isn't great. It's, you don't go into The Grudge expecting prestige acting, but I expect it to, give a shit about someone.
And it does have a lot of like mystique around it. Like The Grudge is important in a lot of ways.
It is, yeah. And like also, it's just one of those things where I just realized, The Grudge isn't for me. And I do plan on watching Nicolas Peche's version of it eventually. I'm not going to rush out to the theater just because between being too busy and not wanting to spend all that money, like, there's other movies I want to see. I still haven't seen 1917, so like I want to go see shit like that. But I'm not a Grudge fan. Something I am a fan of is the original Zombieland, which I rewatched recently, and I finally got a chance to check out Zombieland Double Tap.
Uh-oh.
It's fucking awesome.
Oh,
it's great. Well,
great.
no, it's not fucking awesome. I think, that's my reaction when people go, uh-oh. It's like, what are you talking about? Uh-oh, the first Zombieland was great. First Zombieland is fucking...
Do we need a sequel, though?
No.
Does it
No,
feel
we
that
didn't.
way when you watch it? Like...
No, we definitely didn't need it. It's
Okay.
a decent movie. Zombieland Double Tap. I think if you're a fan of the original Zombieland, watch it. It's more of the same thing. It's not as good, but the thing is, it has some insane zombie kills, and it's some insane choreography, and it's amazing how fast-paced they make some of those sequences. I really like Woody Harrelson. I don't like Jesse Eisenberg. I fucking hate Thomas Middleditch. I think he's one of like the dumbest. Like, I just don't like his comedy, and he's in this movie as well.
He has a weird career, hey?
He's a dickhead too. I don't like him he's a bad person.
Yeah. He's
But
like
he's always bragging about cheating on his girlfriend and shit. Like
he's kind of like Bizarro or like Michael Cera.
totally. But I would much prefer
Like
Michael Cera.
in This Is the End, where
Yeah.
Michael Cera's just evil.
No, or like Youth and
He
Revolt.
actually is kind of like that in real life. He's like Michael Cera in This Is the End.
Come on, we're gonna do blow.
No,
Yeah.
he seems more like Michael Cera in Youth and Revolt. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah. So I don't know. I think
like the douchey one.
Zombieland Double Tap, recommend if you haven't had a chance to check it out and you're a fan of the original, check it out. It's not as good, but it's still a good way to pass an hour and a half. Courtney and I had some solid laughs out of it.
Well, that's good.
Not amazing, not bad. Didn't need it, not mad about it though. Moving on from that, I watched Larry Fessenden Depraved. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the works of Larry Fessenden. He's he's been making these low budget underground movies forever. He's basically one of the people who got Ty West started in the genre. He helped with I believe he helped Adam Wingard a little bit. A lot of these people, like a lot of the genre directors that we like now, grew up learning from Larry. And
Oh, so he's kind of like a gatekeeper.
yeah,
if you
he did
will.
The Last Winter, which is a movie you really
Okay,
like.
yeah.
So he makes these low budget movies that, for me, some of them, I can't say that I'm a hardcore diehard fan of Larry Fessenden's work. I think he's talented. His movies just generally don't always rock me the way that they do other people. But I think Depraved is one of his better ones, and I think it's not getting enough love. It's a Frankenstein story. Okay. So it's a modern day. If you're into the whole lore behind Frankenstein, I think it's worth a watch. Like, once again, this is nothing amazing, but it's something kind of cool that you don't see all the time. And our friends at Erie International did an episode on it recently, so go watch that and then check out their episode. I personally dug it quite a bit. I didn't love it or anything, but I wasn't mad about it. Closing thoughts, I rewatched Us, and I think it's significantly better on a second watch. That movie...
That's funny. I've been thinking about the movie a lot lately, actually.
The first time I watched it, I really liked it, but I do think it's heavy-handed at some times, which it is.
Right.
But the thing is, just on a base level of a horror movie, a creative movie, I think it's very cool. I love a lot of the imagery and symbolism behind a lot of these characters and what they stand for. There's things in it that don't work for me. I don't think it's a masterpiece. I think Get Out is better, but I do enjoy Us, and I think it's something different enough that I'm looking forward to have. I have it on my shelf now. I got it for Christmas, and I'm excited to. I'm happy that I can go back to it every couple of years. Like, it's not one of my favorites, but I thought it was definitely a highlight this year.
It is a highlight.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
I really dug it.
Last year's highlight.
Last year, sorry.
But it's very memorable. You know, I think all those characters are still really like situated in my memory quite a bit. Like, I think even though for all its faults and sort of things, maybe I think a lot of us almost maybe nitpicked a little too much about that movie.
Totally. It's kind of the same thing with Star Wars, is that when you get something so amazing, you hold sequels or like other works from the same person to such a high standard that you go in with a microscope and being like, hey, let's find the problems in this movie.
I don't know. This might be an obvious comparison, but it's funny. I understand where you're coming from, and I don't really feel that way anymore about Us, but I still feel that way about Midsommar, where that movie still didn't connect with me. But over time, Us has. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
I get what you're saying, though. Like, I've thought about Us quite a bit. Where I'm like, I actually want to go back and watch it.
I think
there's some really cool scenes in it. Some of the humor really works for me. Some of it definitely doesn't. But I don't know. I enjoyed that movie. Obviously it has plot holes. It's a horror movie, but it's a ridiculous movie that's a lot of fun to watch, and it hits you pretty hard, especially at the end. I'm going to close off with two things. Just going to drag them into one. There's two new horror documentaries out now. The one I'm going to start out with is Memory: The Origins of Alien. It's available on Crave now. So it's another Alien documentary about specifically Alien and where it came from. I think if you're someone like Boozy who already knows a lot about Alien, there isn't much new that you're going to learn from this.
Oh, dude, did I show you the book I bought?
Yeah, that's insane.
I bought this Making of Alien, and it's like
an encyclopedia.
It's like, wow,
it's beautiful,
huge.
Yeah, but I have seen a lot of hate for Memory online, and I definitely don't find it warranted. I think if you are a massive Alien fan, you're probably already going to know about this stuff. But for me, there were still things that I didn't know about Alien. There were influences behind it that I consider that movie to be a masterpiece. So if anyone ever has a different take on it or has some different insight, I'm interested into hearing about it, because I just love that movie and I love aliens. And I think it's a very solid documentary. I thought I definitely enjoyed it, and I'd recommend it to someone. I think even Boozy, you know almost everything about Alien. I'd be interested to see what you think of it. I think it was very well put together. They got some really good interviews from some people, some film critics, and I just thought it was really cool. Closing off, the other documentary I watched is Smoke and Mirrors, which is the story of Tom Savini, which is now on Shudder. And so if you're a Tom Savini fan, this is essential viewing. It's required viewing. You got to see it.
Did he talk about Nam?
He does, yeah. And you probably know a lot about him as well, but it's cool getting interviews from the man himself, and it's cool listening to him talk and seeing his house and seeing like how he still has this passion for this stuff, but he's just not able to do it the way that he could. I think it's a very telling documentary, and very intimate. It's a very intimate portrayal, but it's also kind of poorly made, in my opinion. I think the audio's fucked in a lot of places. I think it's actually upsetting that it cheapens the movie. The doc feels cheap, and that sucks because I think Tom Savini is one of those guys that deserves an in-depth, a great documentary. The information is here, just the general documentary I don't think is all that well made. But if you're a fan of this stuff, which if you're listening to this, you probably are, it's on Shudder. Give it a watch. If you're not into it, turn it off. Check out something else. Watch Kuso.
I think not to be like morbid about it, but I think once Tom Savini passes, I think there'll be a lot more love for him, and I think there will be a much better quality documentary made of him.
Hopefully.
He's
I want that from Rick Baker.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where people don't love someone enough until they've passed away.
That's annoying.
Because Tom Savini, like,
he gets a lot of love, but
he does, but he also kind of
too.
gets written off. Exactly, He gets written off quite a bit, and I think once he does pass, I think there will be quite a bit of like remorse about not enjoying him as much.
Yeah, not taking him for granted a little bit. That's actually, sorry, I know I said that was the last thing, but you just reminded me of it. Horror fans, if you haven't yet, because I assume a lot of our listeners probably aren't Joe Rogan fans. I do like Joe Rogan, but I only listen to him when he has people on who I'm very interested in. His episode with Rick Baker was fucking amazing. So it came out in December. What?
the Virgin Rick Baker and the Chad Joe Rogan.
I think Joe Rogan's super.
Joe Rogan's the ultimate Chad.
I disagree. I think he's very intelligent, and like his favorite movie of all time is An American Werewolf in London.
Is it actually?
And he has Rick Baker's werewolf in his podcast studio. He bought it out of his auction.
Okay, that's like 10 times cooler.
Yeah, dude, I think a lot of people, like, because Joe Rogan, he gets this, because of the whole fear factor thing in UFC and him being a physically fit guy, people just, he's an easy
him like
target.
doing like fucking like MDMA on a podcast and trying to speak to people.
Yeah, it was just fucking super funny sometimes. But I think he's very intelligent, and he's not the Chad that people think he is, but I can understand thinking that he is. But no, he also, when he was a kid, he wanted to be a makeup artist. Like, that was what he wanted to get into. So it's a very fascinating episode listening to Rick Baker and him talk. Rick Baker's just like the most like soft spoken, but like I could listen to him for hours. But he talks about why he got out of the business. He fucking throws people under the bus, and like he talks about things like how he ended up, because whether you like the movie The Grinch or not, that movie could have been a complete disaster. And Rick Baker basically finessed his way into making it so that Jim Carrey was wearing an actual prosthetic that looked good. Mm-hmm. And they were going to do like CGI and shit like that.
It still holds up fairly well.
Oh man, it's a good
great.
makeup.
Yeah.
The makeup in the movie is great. But yeah, no, I highly recommend checking that out. But with all that being said, we can get on to the news. So that was a lot. I'm happy I was able to knock off all of them.
Hold on, I have something else. Okay. We actually did receive 2 emails over the break, so if I can, I would like to read them right now.
That's a good idea, because you just reminded me that we also have another one.
Okay, so the first one is from Alexis. So, hey guys, I'm sorry I missed you guys over the holidays. I hope yours were lovely. I know I'm a little late on this, but it took me a while to catch up on the episodes because you were pumping them out. Good for you. And I just moved provinces over New Year's. First of all, welcome to the Terror Table, Kyle. I think you'll make a great addition. I decided to send in my top 15 anyways, despite my tardiness, because I noticed I have quite a few picks that weren't on anyone else's list, and I found that interesting. So here's her top 15 in no particular order. Train to Busan, Green Room, Cabin in the Woods, It Follows, Autopsy of Jane Doe, Hush, You're Next, Get Out, Tucker and Dale versus Evil, The Voices.
Oh, great Ryan Reynolds movie. That's actually a really cool movie.
I don't remember that
Dude,
one.
I think you've seen it. You would like it.
Oh.
He's a serial killer.
Okay. Creep, Krampus, The Ritual, Oculus, Mom and Dad.
Love it.
Yeah,
I
maybe
like
I'm
all those
crazy
movies.
for choosing some of these over movies like Hereditary, but I guess I go for more of a rewatch value, which is probably why half of these are movies that make me laugh and I could watch over and over again. Long list of honorable mentions: Hereditary, The Quiet Place, Revenge, Don't Breathe, It Comes at Night, The Devil's Candy, The Invitation, Better Watch Out, The Girl with All the Gifts, Cheap Thrills, Annihilation, Mayhem, Tigers Are Not Afraid. Bonus disappointment, Velvet Buzzsaw.
Yes.
Lastly, I watched a favorite movie of each host. I love that.
Oh, wow.
Dog Soldiers for Boozy. She loved it. Spring Breakers for Mitch. Hardest
Nope,
I
that's
have
Kyle.
laughed in 2019.
Spring Breakers is Kyle.
Kyle, I'll be watching Under the Skin as soon as I get a chance. Don't
I
worry.
got Spring Breakers.
That's honestly respect, though. I think Spring Breakers, the love should be shared.
Yeah, I'll take it. But like, I do love Spring Breakers. But
That movie's near and dear to my heart.
yeah, I think that's one of the things we first connected about.
Absolutely. Spring Break.
All
forever.
right. Thanks for continuing introducing me
Thanks,
to amazing
Alexis.
movies, and I wish you all the best for 2020. Love, Alexis.
I met Alexis and your buddy Dan on the same night.
Oh,
We went to Hudson's.
that sounds sick.
Yeah, it was nice. They're both great people.
Over recently or a while
No,
ago?
this was like when we first started the show.
I see.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks for that, Alexis.
Second email. This is from our boy Bryson, who's my roommate. Did I tell you the story? His kids think that I'm his roommate because when he came down here, so they'll ask like, "What's your roommate up to?" like he just left to live with me for a week.
Okay.
So his top 10 of 2019. Hey guys, wanted to send in my top 10 horror movies of 2019. So we're going 10 to 1. So Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, Haunt, The Vast of Night, Child's Play, Ready or Not, Daniel Isn't Real, Crawl, It Chapter 2, Doctor Sleep, and Us.
Wow.
And a special shout to movies like Scare Package, Brightburn, 47 Meters Down, Uncaged, and Annabelle Comes Home. Then some of my favorite movies from your show this year that I hadn't seen before, but I would probably... hadn't seen before would probably have to be Splinter, Deep Red, and Dog Soldiers. Also can't express enough what a blast I had this year going up and visiting you guys in Canada and going to the film fest. It was such a fun week and a great way of kicking off my first week out of the country. I'm truly glad to have you guys as my friends and I look forward to more fun in the future. Thanks for everything, guys. Bryson, sent from my iPhone.
God, I love Bryson. Thank
Me
you, man.
too.
That's a wonderful
awesome.
message.
Thank you.
That was oh man, there's so many highlights last year, but just meeting.
It's a
people.
bummer that you didn't get to meet Bryson. He is so sweet. Like
He's great.
There's a couple
this
times
is
where he
sad.
would just walk near me, like, and he was like, we were all kind of doing our own thing. Like he'd walk near me, and I'm just like, I want to hug you.
His laugh is contagious as fuck. Like he's
got a good laugh.
Yeah, he's got a great laugh.
I can appreciate that.
I got actually one from. It was sent to our Twitter, but it's from The Hair of Cthulhu, which is it's a web series. I think I could be completely wrong, and I so badly apologize if I am wrong, but I think this is Thomas from Middle Earth. But he has it's a web series based called The Hair of Cthulhu, which is inspired by H.P. Lovecraft. It's really fucking funny and it's great. Highly recommend checking it out. I watched all the episodes.
I forgot you could direct message on Twitter.
Yeah, well, no, he tweeted this to us,
Oh, okay.
but he
Oh,
said,
wow.
"The Terror Table. I missed your call for lists, so here is mine. It only contains titles that were not mentioned enough or at all on your very fun show. Great, you have a new co-host with a very distinctive taste in film." So, there you
Oh my
go.
God, I'm
People
getting,
like
I'm
you.
getting a lot of love, and thank you, everyone.
So I've actually seen most of these movies, but his number one is, I'll go from 15 to 1. 15, The Borderlands, also called Last Prayer from 2013. I saw that as well. It's a pretty cool movie. The Woman, with the Lucky McKee film from 2011. 13 is Yakuza Apocalypse from 2015, directed by Takeshi Miike. Or Mike, if that's, I never know how people call him.
I thought it was Mike. Whatever.
Yeah, okay. 11 is Sleeping Beauty. 12 is Southbound from 2015.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
11 is Sleeping Beauty from 2011, which I've never heard of.
Never heard of it.
Number 10 is Red State by Kevin Smith from 2011.
We were
Me and
just talking
Kyle
about
were
this.
just talking about this. 9 is Apollo 18 from 2011. That is the
that's
only one on this list that I will actively... Like, I fucking hated that movie.
Yeah, you know what? I like that he's giving it love because that was a movie that, no, it wasn't great, but it was such a cool idea.
It's a cool idea.
It's a great premise,
It was a cool
absolutely,
idea.
yeah.
But that's it. I love it if people have different
It's
opinions.
like how like Chernobyl Diaries was a cool idea, but
Yeah.
just wasn't a good movie.
Yeah. Okay, and then number 8, Jugface from
You never put
2013.
Jess McCartney in your
I still
movie.
haven't seen Jugface actually. Number 7, The Skin I Live In.
Oh, it's a great
2011.
movie.
It is. Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen it.
Oh.
I know
You
that
definitely
I
enjoy
know
it.
I'll love
Yeah,
it. Der Nachtmar. I think it's a German film from 2015.
Sounds German.
Number 5 is Attack the Block, which is if Diego was
yeah,
still here,
yeah,
he would
it's
have
a
been
great movie.
all over that. I bet you that's his favorite of the last
Bruv.
decade. Yeah, great movie. Number 4, American Mary from Canada, Soska
Hell
Sisters
yeah.
in 2012. Number 3, I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House,
Hell
which is
yeah.
2016 from Osgood Perkins.
That's a real artsy movie.
I still haven't seen it, and that's absurd to me. But
It's
I need
long,
to.
it's artsy, it's kind of cool. Yeah.
I love his Blackcoat's daughter is amazing. But
It's not as crazy.
yeah.
As Black. Okay.
Number 2, Rigor Mortis from 2013, which is a movie Diego was very passionate about. I still have never seen it, but I'm interested in checking out. And his number 1 is a movie that I have seen, directed by Brandon Cronenberg, son of David Cronenberg, in 2012, Antiviral.
Oh yeah.
Antiviral had some really cool things.
I never saw it, but I remember
I think
hearing a
it's a
lot about
movie
it.
you would dig.
Antiviral, yeah.
But yeah, so thank you so much, Thomas Hera Cthulhu. It's hard to keep up with everything, but we really appreciate you messaging in. Did Bryson share his top 10? He shared his top 10 of the year.
Yeah.
Should I quickly hammer off mine? Because I know we didn't do an episode. We don't need to, because I don't think you have 10 that you liked this year.
Last year,
sorry. But I made a list. I posted them on my Instagram if you want to go and check that out. Blair Mitch 666. And maybe we should start plugging our Twitters and Instagrams a little bit more at the end, because I post a lot of stuff for horror stuff online. That's all I post. So my last thing is my top 10s of 2019. At number 10, I had Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people didn't care for it. That's cool. I totally understand. It doesn't work for everyone. It's very teeny. I liked it. I wasn't in love with it. I just thought it was a really cool Halloween movie that I will watch again around the Halloween season. So I dug it for what it was. Number 9, Sweetheart, which is a film that Boozy and I talked quite a bit about.
Bryson actually watched it, and he said he really liked it.
It's a good creature feature in the vein of Castaway. So check that out. It's a Blumhouse
It's
Tilt
a good
film.
contained story.
Number 8 was a film that we saw at the Saskatoon Fantastic Film Festival, which is now on Shudder. Daniel Isn't Real. That was a great movie. I highly recommend people. I'm really excited that since it's been out on Shudder, people have been seeing it, and for the most part, I've seen nothing but love. So that's really great to see. Number 7 was potentially the most fun I had in a theater this year. Actually, no, it 100% was. Scare Package. Scare Package, director Aaron Kuntz, who was on the show. It was so cool to see his film.
Josh.
Yeah, fuck Josh. It was great seeing him, meeting him at the film festival. Can't wait to see his next movie, The Pale Door. Loved Scare Package. We had such a good time with it. Number 6, surprisingly enough, I put Child's Play. I did not think that movie was going to be good.
It was fun.
I ended up really liking it. I like it probably a little more than I should. I just think it's a really fun, goofy movie, and I'm a Chucky purist, but fuck it. I liked this movie. It was fun. I liked it.
The jokes were really well written.
I liked it, and I appreciated the different vision. Like I didn't. Yeah. Number 5, Us. Number 4, The Vast of Night, which could very well be number 1 as well. That's a movie I need you to see as soon as you can. It is a great movie. Keep an eye out for it, because I believe it's going to get a wide release on Amazon this year. We'll make sure to update people on that, because that's a movie that I really want people to see. Number 3, One Cut of the Dead. Number 2, Crawl. And number 1, of course, The Lighthouse was my favorite horror movie of this year. Last year, sorry, Jesus. All right, let's move on to some news. So it's a beefy episode for you guys. We're making up for our time away. Hope you guys are enjoying it, and I hope you're ready for Kyle to ask Boozy to... Oh my God. No. I love that we invited a guy on our show who doesn't listen to our podcast. Yeah. He doesn't know the shticks.
Boozy, hit me with the news.
Hit me with the motherfucking news, Booze.
Close enough. Oh my God, it's the first news of 2020, not 2019, Mitch.
2020.
Let's talk about some news here, because we've missed quite a bit of time. I tried to get some of the stuff that's probably more pertinent or interesting to us, so I'll go with that. First up, we have our first trailer for Thomas Jane's film, Hunter's Moon.
Yes.
Mitch, you tagged me in this.
Yeah, it's a new werewolf movie. What's it called again? Hunter's Moon?
Hunter's Moon.
I watched the trailer, but
like a home invasion movie, but then they throw a werewolf in. So it's like a home invasion movie where another home invasion takes place on top of a home invasion movie.
Right. Okay.
And Thomas Jane plays
as a sheriff.
Yeah, which is like a perfect character for him. Thomas Jane is the sheriff.
And Jay Moore is in this movie.
Who?
Jay Moore.
Who the fuck's Jay Moore?
You guys don't know Jay Moore?
Looks familiar, but I don't know who that is.
Who the fuck's Jay? I don't know.
Oh man,
I thought it was gonna be a rapper.
Watch Cherry Falls, for fuck's sakes, Boozy.
I can't find it.
I'll find it.
Okay, it's so hard to find.
Yeah, I'll give you my copy.
I kind of commented like after you tagged me in it, and I'm worried about it.
Why? It's a low budget werewolf movie.
No, I know, but like it doesn't look good. It has a cool idea for a story, but I'm really worried that the werewolf is gonna look so bad that it's gonna ruin the whole thing.
They show a little bit of it at the very end that looks practical at times, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't see, that's the thing for me. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm not dying to see it. I know it's a straight to VOD movie. I don't know if we can watch movies like I think people are a little too nice about Late Phases. Like I think Late Phases is a good movie. Like, it's fine. It's fine, but it's like it's nothing amazing. Hunter's Moon. Like I don't know. I'm always down to see a new werewolf movie. For the most part, they're not good.
I'm hoping it'll be on like the same level that like this is like optimistic is like Howl.
Yeah,
because I thought Howl was really good.
Yeah, Howl's cool. But yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not like.
Yeah,
I'm not expecting something amazing.
Over the years, I've realized is like, okay, this is, and you know this, is like, this is totally like our shit. Yeah. But at the same time, you kind of have to go now where it's like, it's probably not going to be great. So I want to have like a certain level of expectation and not ruin it for myself.
Yeah.
Because if I was like 12 and I saw a trailer for this, I'd be like, this is my favorite movie. Like,
yeah, that's why I'm saying like, you gotta, like, I hope you're going to it semi-optimistic.
Yeah, I'm always excited for werewolf movies.
We don't know
Thomas
anything.
Jane is fantastic.
I love Tom Jane.
It's weird seeing him not doing something that's related to Stephen King, actually.
Yeah.
Next piece of news: Mark Hamill will have a special guest appearance in What We Do in the Shadows second season.
Perfect casting.
That's great. Yes.
I want to know his actual comedy chops, though.
Oh, he's funny, man.
He's pretty funny.
He is funny.
Yeah.
But no, I'm like, and here's the thing, guys. We've already done the Star Wars talk, whatever. Mark Hamill's not a great actor.
No, he's not.
He's not. But I love him.
He's
I love
hokey,
him.
and it works.
Yeah,
sometimes.
and I think his whole thing will work very well in What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, for the most part, we can agree is like he kind of stumbled into an iconic role.
Man, they're doing lots of there's already been 2 announcements now for werewolf movies, and like Dracula, the BBC show, just came out on Netflix, which I actually forgot to talk about. I watched the first episode, and it's like it's just not for me, but because I know that story so well, it's cool that other people are going to get to experience the Dracula story, but for me, it's Bram Stoker's Dracula. You could just watch that. Instead,
I'm still waiting for. I can't remember who was supposed to direct it, but the Nosferatu remake.
Oh, Robert Eggers.
Yeah, dude.
From Lighthouse. Yeah.
I want that so bad.
I want it too. I want it so bad.
Is he doing that actually?
Originally he was supposed to do that after The Witch was a Nosferatu remake, and I want that. But I also like if the Lighthouse's show does anything, I want to see his original shit. Like I love his stuff.
Right? Yeah.
He's 2 for 2.
He does his homework. That's the thing. Actually, funny enough, speaking of Lighthouse, this is interesting that Letterboxd has become something where people actually look to that for information. So according to Bloody Disgusting and the information they did, the top 10 horror movies of last year, Lighthouse was number 1 by like a mile in terms of ratings.
Yeah. Right.
Which I'm super happy about. Is I couldn't tell over, like I saw, like, and you guys had said you guys really liked The Lighthouse, but overall I was wondering where it landed because it's pretty far out there in terms of what the general movie populace watches, right?
Well, Johnny on So Be It said that you were correct in putting it on your list. He thinks that it should have been even a little bit higher.
Wow. Oh, is that in his most recent episode?
Yeah. No, that was in their top 15 of the decade.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't caught up with. I have a bunch of backlogs.
Yeah. But great movie.
What do we got here? Bong Joon-ho currently in talks with HBO for a Parasite limited series.
What do we think about this?
No,
we don't fucking.
We don't need
it.
this. We do not need this.
Need this. Like, it's frustrating that people and there are people online complaining about how there's not a dubbed version of Parasite.
What?
I know. It's
Why
so
would
annoying.
you need that?
It's like, man, and I loved Bong Joon-ho's comment at the Golden Globes about how he's just like, if you can get over the little, the like inch part of the screen that has words on it, your whole world is gonna change. You're gonna see so many other cool movies.
I don't know. I mean, a Parasite. I mean, I'm sure it would be good because the man's a genius, and if he's attached to it in any way, hopefully there'll be some good eyes on it. But I don't know, man. I feel like we don't need a series. Like
what can you stretch out of it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, okay, like I'll reserve judgment. Like, sure, I haven't seen it yet. I can't totally shit on it, but in my mind, the story's so contained. Like, never in a million years did my mind go, wow, I'd like to watch 8 more of this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think it's just perfect the way it is. I just wish that people could experience it and just go fucking go watch the movie.
It has become sort of this like phenomenon now where like a lot of people who don't usually watch like, I don't know, foreign films or whatever.
The hype machine is fucking annihilating this one though. Like, but the thing is, I think it lives up to the hype. But I can understand it not for some people. But
it's in a weird direction where it's definitely, in my opinion, deserved of the hype. But to take it to a series, I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, totally.
FX has renewed American Horror Story for seasons 10, 11, 12, and 13.
That's how many exist?
Yeah. See, when I read that, it was the same thing. It's like, there's that many.
Fuck, I still haven't. Oh, I forgot about it over the break. I could have been watching that. I forgot about 1984, which is apparently awesome. Almost everyone I've talked to, the newest season of American Horror Story, has said it's awesome. It's a slasher, 1984 slasher.
I just it's that was the part that surprised me. Like, it snuck up. Like, there's this many of the show out.
I mean, good for them if they're able to sort of craft, I don't know, multiple stories over and over again with that formula. That's cool.
It's getting into your mom's friends' houses. Like, it's getting horror into your mom's friends' houses.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it. But
next up, NECA has released several figures from Halloween 2 action figures.
I want the Jamie Lee Curtis one.
Her face looks so weird.
Yeah, but it's still, there's no Jamie Lee. I've seen very, very, very few Jamie Lee Curtis action figures.
Yeah, I think it's super cool.
So I'm into it.
We have a second trailer. I haven't watched this trailer, so I can't comment on it too much. But there is a second trailer for The Boy 2.
I saw.
I saw it in the theater.
Brahms The Boy 2.
You didn't. It was before Underwater.
We showed up late, so I only saw the trailer for one movie.
Okay, as long as you saw the beginning of Underwater.
Yes.
It's like, wow, you might be confused.
This trailer looks strange, eh?
Have you guys seen the first one?
Yeah, I think it's super overhated. The Boy was not a bad movie. It just wasn't that good either. But like, it's not. I also don't understand needing a second one. I didn't know that movie's. I guess if it was successful, I'll fucking do it. But I don't know. The trailer doesn't look terrible, but it's not my thing.
I've seen a lot come out lately where people are saying that it's actually a movie that kind of got left behind and actually is pretty decent.
It has good moments in it. Like there are moments of that movie. And what's her name? She plays Maggie in Walking Dead. She's great. She's a really good actress. But she was at The Boy. I don't know. For me, my main takeaway from it is I'm so fucking tired of people stealing the Jordan Peele Get Out trailer. Like, everyone's making the same trailer now. Like, that whole scene of the kid fucking flipping back and forth. Like,
I see.
Oh my god, man. Like, and everything, like, Hereditary had the same type of trailer. Like, Us had the same type of trailer, obviously, but so many different movies. They're using the same template. It's like, hey, this is getting old, you guys.
Next up, a little bit of sad news for everyone. Rest in peace to urban legend and Ugly Better creator Silvio Horta. Thank you for Urban Legend.
I didn't know that was
that movie so much.
Yeah, it's a boozy movie.
The Grudge receives an F on Cinema Score.
Yikes.
So did
I
Mother.
still want to see it.
Yeah.
I still want to see it.
Mother had a cinema score of F. Like, that's those cinema
Mother's
scores are
amazing.
such bullshit.
Yeah,
Like,
I haven't heard a lot of good things about The Grudge.
I've heard one good thing.
And I know, like, I'm just going off of what Bryson said because Bryson mentioned it to me, and I'm usually pretty good with his opinion, but he also loves pretty much everything, and even he wasn't that big on it. So, I mean, I think I'll watch it eventually.
Yeah.
We got our first trailer for A Quiet Place 2.
Right.
Man.
I like it.
I think it looks fucking awesome.
It looks a lot like Cloverfield.
I think it looks better. Like, honestly, I liked Quiet Place quite a bit, but I think this new trailer is awesome. I know, like, so many people are complaining about how it's showing too much and everything. I'm like, I love that they're opening up the world and that you're seeing the monsters more and everything. There is some, like, the scene where she's driving backwards and there's a bus and you just see the arm come out. I got chills. I was like, that's awesome.
I was going to say that's probably the direction I would prefer for that, where they're showing a lot more of the, like, what happened to the world.
Yeah.
I like that idea. Last piece of news. This is where I can come in again is since I only did see one trailer before Underwater is the Woman in the Window. I watched the trailer for that, which was the last trailer.
Courtney's
before.
reading the book right now.
Oh, the Amy Adams one?
Yeah.
That looked kind of cool.
I'm going to say it looked cool, but the trailer gave me so much.
Yeah, even Courtney is halfway through reading. She's like a quarter of the way reading the book, and she was pissed because the trailer gave away something that she hasn't gotten to
That's
yet.
why I don't watch trailers, honestly.
I know.
I stay away from them.
I was super sold on the movie, and I think I still am a bit, but yeah, it's like this trailer could stop right now.
Yeah.
Oh, we're still going. Okay.
I don't expect it. I do not expect it to be Gone Girl good because it's not
No.
directed by David Fincher. But I think it could go in that direction, or
be Lady
Girl
on the Train.
Girl on the Train. That was fucking awful.
Yeah, that movie's not good.
It was terrible. And I haven't read the book, but that's one of Courtney's favorite books.
Apparently the book's great. I don't know. I think that movie looks promising, though. You're right. The trailer did definitely give a lot of information away, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of the rare times where I've watched a trailer and went like the whole time going, stop.
Yeah.
Like you've already got me. Stop giving away the story.
There's one last piece of news that you didn't cover that is at this point just a rumor, but I do want to talk about for a second that
Sure.
there is a rumor that Andy Muschietti is going to be making a remake of The Howling.
Yeah.
And this is the director of Mama, It Chapter 1 and 2. The Howling is a movie that we both love quite a bit. I don't know if you've seen it, but
Haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, Joe Dante movie. I think that movie is definitely ripe for a remake. I don't think it's above being remade. Like
I don't know if Andy Muschietti is the right person.
I know
for it.
that's my main problem is that he's not very good with scares. I don't like because I don't feel like it worked in the ways
Mama had
in the
a
way of scares.
couple scenes.
Yeah, there's some creepy moments, but the thing is like I still like both those It movies. Like I forgot I watched It Chapter 2 again, and I don't think it's as awesome as I thought it was the first time, but I don't think it's bad either. But I don't know. My main problem with him is he's always CGI heavy.
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
Like if we see it, like I do not want a fucking CGI werewolf movie. Like that could be so awful, and I'm just not into that idea. So I'm hesitant about it, but of course I'll be there day one.
And the way I think I'd mentioned this on another episode, if not, whatever, I'll just go for it right now, is that the way a lot of The Howling is set up, especially at the start with like the...
Serial killers.
Yes, the grimy serial killer aspect of it, where I'm like, I want it to feel and look a lot like Maniac for a lot of the time, because it could do so much with that grimy aspect of it. Yeah. And I'm worried that Andy Muschietti doesn't make grimy movies. Even Mama is a very polished movie.
It's super polished. Mama's a good movie. It's just the problem is the effects are so distracting. So distracting.
Like some of the best parts of Mama is the sound effect part where you're hearing things and your brain kind of has to make up the rest of it, which is some of the best parts of that movie.
I'm bottom line, I'm not interested. Even like in Annabelle Comes Home or whatever, there's everyone is all excited about the werewolf, the hellhound, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Apparently it was practical, but I'm like, man, they did a terrible job at showing that that's practical, because it looks like right out of a video game. They polished the shit out of it with CGI. But I don't know. As of right now, it's really just hearsay. You know, there was also a rumor that he was going to do Nightmare on Elm Street, which has now been debunked. So we can't know. But
I mean,
I'm just excited that they're talking about making werewolf movies again, and that they're talking about making more. Like, I hope Underwater does really well, because I want more creature movies.
Yeah. Then the thing was, like, I'm sure you probably haven't kept up with Howling movies, because they did. No. I think the last one was called Reborn or something, and they tried like redoing a lot of the timeline on it, and that movie is really bad.
For the most, like, I've only seen The Howling and The Howling 2, and The Howling 2 is borderline unwatchable.
Yeah, The Howling is the series that like did a huge stonks dive.
That's too bad.
It was pretty bad. Cool. You guys want to go on to our main feature?
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
So we can talk when we get back. We're going to be talking about Underwater, first horror film that we've seen in 2020.
Wow.
Be right back.
Listen carefully. You are now 5,000 miles from land, and you're descending 7 miles to the bottom of the ocean. See you all in a month.
Here we go. All right, we're gonna do this. Let's do this.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how bad's my rig?
10.
drilled to the bottom of the ocean, and we don't know what came out.
Gotta get to the station.
How will we even get there?
We walk. We're just gonna walk with insufficient oxygen across the bottom of the ocean.
You don't know what's out there.
Worst idea ever. What was that?
Turn your lights on.
What is that? What is that?
What is happening?
And welcome to our main feature presentation, in which we're going to be talking about Underwater, which was released on January 6th.
Yep,
8th.
checks out.
Yeah, no,
I
January.
think it's 8th.
It's 8th, yeah, January 8th, 2020. So this is a aquatic sci-fi horror film that is directed by William Eubank. This guy has made other movies, like he made Tom DeLonge's Angels and Airwaves movie called Love. Which is a
I didn't know they had a movie.
Oh my god, it is a
There's a lot of lore.
It is a painful and cringy experience, to say the least, where they blatantly recreate scenes and themes from 2001. So it is his version of 2001, but Tom DeLonged up. Is
it like a love letter kind of way?
Well,
or-
it's
It's
their
not
album.
a
Their
mod.
album was called Love, and
It
like
was this whole like space like rock opera type thing.
No, it's like the 2001 thing. Is it like a love letter 2001?
No, it's a ripoff.
No,
Like the thing
not
is,
so
I'm
much,
sure they've said that it's a love letter, but they've recreated direct scenes for most of it.
It doesn't really read as homage.
Yeah, it's not good. But it was written by Brian Duffield and Adam Kozad, who Brian Duffield wrote. He was one of the writers on The Babysitter and Insurgent. Adam Kozad was the writer of Jack Reacher, Shadow Recruit, and The Legend of Tarzan from 2018.
So we're dealing with some heavy hitters.
Yeah,
here.
we are. And then it's starring Kristen Stewart, T.J. Miller, Vincent Cassell, Jessica Henwick, John Gallagher Jr., Mahmoudou Athie, and Gunnar Wright. So the basic storyline of this is it's a group of aquatic researchers. They have to fight their way to safety after their underwater vessel is submerged deep in the ocean after an apparent earthquake. Just a couple things about the cast. Like, I fucking love Vincent Cassell. I think he's amazing in almost everything that he does. But
he's
he
great.
always
Which one's
plays.
he?
He is the captain.
Okay, yeah.
He always plays despicable characters. He's pretty likable in this one, but I don't think he was given enough to do to. I would like to see him in a movie get a real redeemable arc, because we know him from like Irreversible, Black Swan,
Lahame.
Which
Lahame. It's a
Lahame,
French
yeah, and
great movie.
Eastern Promises. Like
Yep.
he's been in some really. He's an amazing actor.
He's a heavy hitter. He's a great
I think
actor.
his character in this was just very one-dimensional. It had nothing to do with him.
Yeah, I think so too.
This is not giving away anything about the movie. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna talk spoiler free for the first little bit, and then we're gonna go into spoilers. But I personally am extremely ready for T.J. Miller to just maybe retire from acting. I
think he kind of has, though.
This is his only purpose in the movie, is having him as your fucking cliche funny guy who has to have the comedic timing that just completely deflates what they're trying, the tension they're trying to build.
I want to talk about this a little bit because I think, based on the timeline, I was doing a little bit of research. I think this film wrapped production at the end of 2017.
It was when he was losing his mind. Truthfully, this was before. So I think it wrapped before he made the bomb threats.
Exactly. So it was right before. He's basically like, I'm sorry, buddy, but it's over. The dream's over.
Yeah. He's
so.
Have we canceled him?
He's
terrible,
far.
man. He's such a bad actor.
He's
too.
been canceled, so unfortunately, he's not my target for canceling. Although, if you guys have any recommendations, let me know.
He's not funny anymore, though. He's done the same thing for fucking ever.
But what I'm trying to get at is like this was still in like 2017, where like T.J. Miller was relevant, and maybe
we could accept him.
We weren't as tired of
I just want
it.
to give him credit for the fact that I thought he was a one-trick pony after Cloverfield. Like, I thought I would never see him again, and to see that he
forgot
actually
he was
did
in that.
have some like a decent career, good for him. But yeah, I totally agree that like I don't need him.
No, he's pretty disposable. And in this film, like you said, Mitch, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But
So-
it's interesting to even see him in a big budget, well, not big budget, but in a mainstream film. Because when I first saw the trailer for this, I was like, what the fuck?
What do you mean?
TJ Miller?
You don't think Yogi Bear was a big mainstream film?
I'm talking about this one in particular. Like, even the fact just seeing him in a film in theaters at all right now actually shocked me. I was like,
She's out of my league. Where he's
You
the
haven't really
zany.
seen him since Silicon, honestly.
Yeah, no, and he's great in Silicon Valley. He
And
was
there's
my
a
favorite
reason
part
for
of that show.
that. But when I found out the production of this film, that's when I said, "Oh, okay, that's why he's here."
Okay, and then we also have John Gallagher Jr., who he's wearing the Hawaiian shirt in this film. John Gallagher Jr.
What is he from?
He was in Hush, 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah,
that's why he looks so familiar.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I really like him. But like there's gonna be the conference. This is gonna come up. I know a lot of people are getting pissed off about people doing this, but I think you need to do it. That there are obvious comparisons to Alien, and I think that he's basically paying William Eubank was paying homage by having John Gallagher Jr. wear the Hawaiian shirt, just like Harry Dean Stanton in Aliens, and same with like he's wearing the bandana, kind of like Vasquez in Aliens. Okay, and then going on from this, now listen, let me be very clear here. Whoa, sorry, my notes just got all fucked up.
Let's be clear.
Let's be clear that there's going to be silence from now.
Let me be clear. If I have to choose teams, I am team Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson all day, every day. He's one of my favorite actors now. I think he's like amazing. Right. And I think he's just fucking awesome. But also it's heartbreaking because Kristen Stewart is awesome.
Oh, she's great.
I think she's such a good actor. She has really turned a leaf. I think, anyone who's shitting on any of these people for being in Twilight, they're just fucking idiots as far as I'm concerned.
Get over yourselves.
Exactly. It's just like, you're whining about Twilight, a movie that was made for someone half of your age.
And so long ago.
Yeah, it's so long ago.
I
it's
think
a great career
it was cool
choice
for them that so many of the people from Twilight basically like finessed the industry. They're like...
They collected their money.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they went and did good stuff.
Except for that one, the werewolf guy.
Taylor Lautner.
Yeah, we'll forget about him.
Where the fuck did he go?
We'll forget about it.
He was abducted.
Yeah,
and
abducted.
Then he was in The Ridiculous Six, and that's been about it.
Okay, but like everybody else, it's like, oh, you guys all have chops. Good for you.
Same with Anna Kendrick.
Yeah.
That was the first time we saw Anna Kendrick.
Crazy.
But I don't know, and also like I think Kristen Stewart is really, she's made huge turnaround the last couple of years. Some people, I don't know if either of you have seen it, but she was in a movie called Camp X-Ray. Not a great movie, but a really good performance from her. The movie is good. I like the movie, but
she was in Personal Shopper. That's a great movie.
I hated Personal Shopper, but she was
great. I love that on cue to watch.
I think it is awful, but I think that is what. Like,
but you have to say, she gives a good performance.
She does. She's very good in the movie. But
she won a goddamn Caesar, like a fucking Italian Oscar for Clouds of Sils Maria. The first English speaking person ever to win that award.
Yeah, no kidding.
Crazy.
And last but not least about Kristen Stewart, she rocks the living fuck out of that haircut in this movie. I love her with that haircut. I think she looks great.
Well, I was mentioning this. Do you think she dies in underwater constantly? Like, how does this work?
Maybe. I don't know. But, I guess we can go on.
You're the only one who was wondering that.
I thought the whole time.
Let's go on to our overall thoughts about Underwater. So, we can say, Boozy and I were very excited for this movie. I don't know how you were feeling about it. I think
honestly,
you put in your own
pretty
words.
Disposable in my mind. I was like, this is a definitely take it or leave it type movie. Probably wouldn't have lost any sleep if I didn't see this movie. But I guess I'll give my thoughts first since I'm speaking.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed this movie for the most part. I like, for what this movie is, it's a pretty good time. Like, I think, it wears its influences on its sleeve pretty heavy-handedly, as you're alluding to, talking about Alien. Like, absolutely. I mean, you can't ignore it. I think even with some of maybe like the little Easter eggy things you're talking about, just the atmosphere and not necessarily the setting, it's underwater instead of in space.
But the setting is still so similar.
But exactly.
Around the control board and...
Yeah, and like a lot of darkness,
claustrophobia.
A lot of closing hatches.
Yeah, so obviously like...
and the suits.
You can't escape it, but... To be honest, that's fine. I mean, I think it's not the first movie to rip off Aliens, so I'm not really...
It certainly won't be the last.
It's not going to be the last, so I'm not really going to knock it for that in any way, to be completely honest. That being said, I don't think this movie really does anything groundbreaking, but what it is doing, it's perfectly serviceable, and I actually had a really good time watching it. Yeah.
I thought about this quite a bit because I watched it last night. I got out of the movie at like 11 o'clock. And it's currently 1:30, so I haven't sat with it a lot. I was looking forward to this, but I was also extremely worried. Just for like, I was really worried about the CGI and how the monsters were gonna act, because that's a huge part of it. Alien wouldn't have been as good if the actual xenomorph looked like shit.
Right.
That's one of its biggest parts.
Or looked like a big ball sack.
Exactly.
Like in this movie.
But watching this movie, I have the biggest comparison I can draw to it, even from the opening title card and how it sets things up.
Oh my god, the title card.
This movie reminds me so much of how Reign of Fire was. It started with your news clippings. It gave you all that information in the best way possible. It didn't heavy hand stuff. I think it would actually been cool if they had done a little bit of like newsreel kind of stuff at the start. But other than that,
sure, that would have been cool.
It was great. It didn't tell you too much. It gave you the bare facts, and that's what I loved. Is that there was so much of this movie that it didn't talk about that you didn't actually need. You didn't have to have.
That's a good point.
You didn't have to have that whole scene where it's like, well, this is where they come from, and we have to destroy this to do this.
This is the name of their origin. They come from this area.
Yeah, there was no person filling in all these facts.
That's very true.
You were living with these characters,
and the movie gets right to the point, like instantly, and doesn't spend any time. It's under 2 hours. It's like it's a good ride.
Yeah, and I think the best part is that it never took you in a way where the story didn't make sense, because there was no muddied extra stuff going on here. It was pretty much an escape story, and I think that's one of its. Yeah, it's survival.
It plays like a survival horror game, like a Resident Evil. Or
but it wasn't super
underwater.
Convoluted, and you didn't have like a red herring character at all. And that's what I liked about it. It was a very simple movie, and for a movie that comes out in January, as much as you have to go like,
there's always a gem.
Yeah, but like it's like it doesn't matter when a movie comes out. But we've known that January is a dumping ground. We had Rings last year.
The studio, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, Fuck You is January is a huge thing. Yeah. But like
Escape Room was last year. That's
I
what we
thought
saw
this movie was amazing.
Yeah,
no, it's not like my favorite movie I've ever seen, but like in terms of movies that not only like underwater sea creature movies, but other like also movies that take a lot from Alien, I think this movie did it in the best way possible.
Yeah. So I'm pretty much directly in line with where you're at, Kyle. I was very much looking forward to this because the bottom line is that I am just a through and through sci-fi horror fan, and especially aquatic shit. I love underwater horror. And so this movie checked off a lot of boxes for me. Even the whole imagery, like, yes, it borrows a lot from Alien. It owes a lot to Alien. But if, honestly, you tell me if a movie was coming out next week and someone was like, hey, it's an Alien ripoff, I'll be like, fuck yeah, I love Alien. Like, I want to see it. And I'm like...
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, so here's the thing with me is that I don't think that this is a great movie, but I think it is a damn serviceable... decent movie.
Yeah,
I think it's a
good popcorn flick.
I think I think it's better than a lot of people are giving it credit for. But I also I think this is what a lot of people were hoping the Cloverfield paradox would be.
Yes.
It has a lot in common with Cloverfield paradox. But like Boozy said, it doesn't fucking. It's not convoluted in the way Cloverfield paradox was. It's not trying to be smarter than it is.
No.
It knows what it is and knows what it's trying to do, and it does it really well for the most part. I have some major gripes with it in the filmmaking, but my favorite part about it is that 2 minutes into this movie starts and it doesn't stop. It's so fast paced and it's entertaining. I can't say that I generally gave a shit about any of the characters, to be honest. The closest I came is Kristen Stewart.
I mean, because I think they're all just like tropes. Like,
they are.
But at the same time, they never fleshed out any of the characters enough where you had it didn't make the movie longer by fleshing these out.
I think they did a really good job at making Kristen Stewart a badass, and I know that she's clearly she's Ripley. They're trying to make a new Ripley, and I think she does a really good job at it. You can tell that she can handle punching at that weight level. She's a great actress. But the thing is that I loved the thing, like Boozy had said, a movie like this, it really comes down to the creature, whether it works or not. And I think the creature works fantastic in this movie. I think it works really well. I love the whole idea behind. I had an issue at first with it's a huge pet peeve of mine when things scream underwater.
Okay,
like the screaming fish in 47 meters down. But
that's its own thing.
Yeah, but Courtney and I talked about this, and it's like these things are like prehistoric. It's at the bottom of Marianas Trench, so it's kind of cool that these things could have dinosaur genes in some way, and I really love I know a lot of people didn't, from what I've read online, some people don't like where it goes. I fucking love where it goes. Yep. I thought the reveal, we'll talk about in the spoilers, but there's a reveal that I think is fucking awesome. And I was just like, oh man, that is badass. It's very silly at the end.
It ups the stakes, honestly.
Yeah, I think the ending is pretty silly, but we shouldn't be taking an ending in a movie like this too seriously.
Absolutely, I cannot agree more.
I was happy with the ending.
That's the thing, is that you can't look for logistical reasons as to if something makes sense that they're doing or not.
Look at the premise of the film you're watching.
Yeah, it is. You got to know what you're watching and for what it is. I think it is. It passes the test. I think, like I said, I don't think that this is an amazing movie, but it's definitely not a bad movie. I don't understand calling this a bad movie, but I
You
guess
have to be lying if you said it's bad. To be honest, I really feel that way.
It's kind of how I feel about. I'm sorry to do this again, but people who say that Joker is a bad movie, I think that those people haven't seen many bad movies.
Honestly, The Joker is not a bad movie.
And
It
same
just
with Star
doesn't do
Wars,
anything great.
Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker. It's not a bad movie. Like, how many movies have you seen where you can call that a bad movie?
Too many to count. And Underwater is definitely not that.
No, and Underwater is like it's debatably better than both of the movies that I just.
If I'm being honest with you, while I was watching Underwater, I was waiting for something really fucking stupid to happen. That was going to piss me off.
The whole time I was waiting for them to completely drop the ball, because that's kind of it's how I felt about the Meg.
Yeah.
Where eventually the Meg just completely dropped the ball.
It tried to be emotional, and it just
Yeah,
came
but
off
like
as
this movie, I
comedic.
kept waiting for it, and then we got to like 3/4 of the way done, and I'm like, holy shit, they made it.
I felt the panic. I felt the panic in this movie, and I think that's a very good sign as to a successful movie. I think that they reacted in the proper way. I think it's some of the best things about these types of movies is putting yourself in that situation, thinking about what you would do, or if you could do it. And Courtney and I, we had a lot of fun watching this movie. Like, Courtney and I both really liked it. And when we got home, we were talking about, like, would we have been able to, get in those suits and jump in the water knowing that there's fucking things flying all around? And, like, it's like, you know what? You have no choice.
I was spooked in this movie. Honestly, there was parts I was genuinely scared, and there was aspects where I felt truly claustrophobic. Like
claustrophobic for sure.
Like this,
I think it's how they did a lot of the kind of POV shots within the actual helmets.
Yes,
that is some of those terrifying stuff. And another thing is that something that always scares me is just the nothingness of water, like dark emptiness, and you're seeing like barnacle particles and all this shit, and you're not your eyes are trying to find something. That was some of the best parts of this movie, is you felt that claustrophobia of like, oh, they're actually at the bottom of the fucking ocean.
Yeah, a lot of this is, as ridiculous as it sounds, you have to, I personally feel like it's kind of believable.
To a degree, I agree.
Because honestly, it obviously gets a little out there at the end. I feel like there's got to be a way we would know about something when we talk about the ending. But that's me taking it too seriously. Don't even have that conversation. That's stupid that we're talking about it. But I think it's, for the most part, man. I just think this was a really like well above average creature feature in terms of what we've gotten in theatrical release movies lately. And
like, this movie didn't blow me away, but I had a really good time watching it. And I think
I'll watch it again too.
Oh, absolutely. And I think a lot of what I enjoyed about this movie comes down to the production design. It's actually pretty top notch. Like the facilities and like you're talking about, sort of like the atmosphere of what's underwater. Like, okay, maybe there's not necessarily things I've never seen before, but in my mind, it was very serviceable, and it felt like the whole world, as the movie was like unraveling, made a lot of sense to me. I knew where things were. I had an idea of like what sort of terror might be lurking there. Like, I don't know. I was into it.
They took ideas from things that the regular moviegoer who has no concept of aquatics could get behind very simply.
Right.
Another movie that this kind of reminded me of that I think this is actually better than is like The Last Days of Mars. If you've seen that, it has that same feel where it's like, here's sci-fi things you're aware of, but we're not going to overly explain them, and you understand that the environment you're in is very hostile just because of what it is, not the actual things that are in it.
There was one particular scene where I thought, okay, this is where the movie's going to shit, and it didn't happen. I won't talk about it right now, but
we'll get on to spoilers right away here. The last thing I want to say before we log off on spoiler-free stuff is, I guess I'm going to be the one who's most negative about this, because for me, my main problem with it is I feel like there's probably about 5 minutes of this movie that aren't readable. It's not legible. Like, I understand that you're in the bottom of the Marianas Trench and that it's dark down there, it's claustrophobic, but you're
saying
also
like all the quick cuts.
You're also making a movie. And you have to make it watchable. You have to make it so people know what's going on. There was a couple times in this movie where it moves so fast and it's so dark and muddy that I was like, what? So that guy's dead now?
I kind of like that idea, because
that's true.
You're just as disoriented as the crew is in those scenes.
And that's what the filmmakers are going to say, I think. But the thing is, I think it should be legible. I think there's more. A movie needs more than. There's a lot of different ingredients to make a good movie, and that's what this is totally semi off topic, but it kind of made me think about like The Revenant, in the way where The Revenant is mainly just shot really, really well, but the story isn't great, and the rest of it I personally didn't feel like was fantastic or anything like that. But I just think you need to make it readable, and it's cool that you're using natural light, but the thing is, you also need to make it look good. And
I don't know. I think
Revenant looked good. Sorry.
based on like the location, the atmosphere, and the setting of this film, like to me that wasn't that big of a deal because they're literally working with what they have as far as I'm concerned. I don't think it's necessarily something that couldn't have been improved. Absolutely. I think that's an aspect that probably could have been improved, but I don't know. With what they were working with and what the sort of film it set as a precedent, it didn't really bother me that much, to be honest.
No, that's fair.
I actually had 2 complaints, if we're going to do that before we get into spoilers.
As long as they're not spoilers, yeah.
No. My 2 complaints, I think...
and TJ Miller. I hated TJ Miller in this movie.
That's my first one.
I knew from the trailer he was going to be terrible.
It was so unnecessary. The movie, I think the movie could have been significantly stronger if you didn't have him constantly being a detriment to the story.
I talked to, because I went with my roommate Tyler, I think that he had too many jokes for every single thing. I think if you cut his jokes in half, there was actually 2 jokes that did hit in this movie, but it's because he kept batting so often.
I like the haunting joke.
Yeah, he had a terrible batting average, but I think like if you want to keep him in this movie, that's totally fine. I'm okay with whatever he does, but it was too many. It's like he wasn't given a script. They were just like, TJ, after these 2 people say a line, you make a joke.
Yeah, just do your thing.
He's like, well, I'm a funny man, so
yeah,
I'm
a funny guy.
I'm gonna quip the whole time. But I did like that his character, where they kept mentioning that he was crazy, and that gave him reasons for what he was doing. Is he was very like, whatever, we're in this situation, I'm gonna deal with it how I deal with it as my personality.
Yeah.
So I thought that was fine. And then the other problem I had, maybe it was the theater, I don't know, but like I felt a lot of times that I couldn't entirely hear what people were saying. It felt like they were mumbling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that is the theater, to be honest with you.
But like
I guess I can't say for certain.
And I think that it's enough where I didn't miss any major plot points because I was still okay with like, oh, okay, they're doing this. But there are certain times where maybe they had dialogue that would have furthered a character that I didn't hear entirely.
Totally.
Dude, we had such a bad theater experience. Fuck Galaxy.
Yeah, fuck Galaxy.
Fuck Galaxy.
I was so worried. I had 2 people who were talking through all the trailers, and I was like, man, if you guys start talking through the whole movie, because I was getting ready to shush them, but it was like, okay, we're not.
Courtney shushed hard.
Oh
yeah, Courtney bit. She attacked.
Theater smell like piss? Because my theater smelled like piss the entire time, and it was very distracting.
Yeah, fuck Galaxy. But no, that's the thing.
Was your bed there? Was your mattress there?
For the record, that was sweat, but I would have taken anyways.
Yeah, there was 4 guys sitting behind us, and they were just talking. Like it was like they were talking after things had already started moving. They were still talking, like, and it's loud explosions and shit, and you could still hear them talking. And Courtney was just like turning around, she's like, "Kay, please, it's 2 minutes into the fucking movie." Oof. And that, like, I was like, "Yes, that's my girl." And they completely shut up for the rest of the movie.
Respect.
Get him, baby.
Yeah. All right,
Courtney.
So I think it's safe to say 3 thumbs up from Terror Table. That was also the name of my very first band in grade 2.
3 thumbs up Terror Table?
No, not grade 2. Grade 7 is when we do Blink-182 covers, and we called ourselves 3 Thumbs Up. So that's a little Mitch fact.
Let's play always.
But yes, so 3 thumbs up from us, and moving on to. So yeah, this is your time to check out if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want it spoiled. Otherwise, you can stick around. But I just want to say, go out and see this movie. Even if I can say that I personally don't think it's amazing, I don't think you need to see it in the theater, but I think you should because I want more creature features. I want this movie to be successful.
And also, if you're checking out right now, and you don't want to listen to the rest of this, come back for the very end because we're bringing back questions of the week. So come back for that.
Yeah, we might have to change that if we're going to start doing spoiler stuff to have the question of the week like somewhere else.
No, you can just skip right to the end, and then it's like 10 seconds.
I guess that's true. Yeah, skip right to the last 20 seconds. Okay.
Instead of going like specifically like this time. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, all right, let's get on to spoilers. So there's actually not a whole lot to talk about in spoilers, but I guess I'll lead the way in saying that the main thing is like the creatures and where they come from and what they are. Like that's the real spoiler territory of this movie.
Relatively obvious.
Yeah, I want to say
I love that they didn't over-explain it.
One of my favorite scenes of the whole movie, debatably, actually probably my favorite scene, which it's one of those things where if you blink, you'll miss it. But it's when they're all walking on the ocean floor at that one point. They're trying to get to that other building, and you can see one of the creatures is like, it's when T.J. Miller makes a Slender Man comment. Did you see the creature standing?
Yeah.
The silhouette? I was just like, oh man, that is tight. Like I loved that. I thought it was so cool. Yeah, and I thought the creatures were I thought they were brutal. I loved the whole detached jaw thing, like when she started swallowing.
I love that they, instead of just like clawing at people, it actually
It's like
tried to
sucking on the
swallow
knob.
Yeah. I also like that they kind of took the idea, is that, what is the name of that creature that has the little light?
A narwhal.
No.
No.
You know what I'm talking
I know
about?
what you're talking about.
Okay, it's
I
like
know what you
the
mean.
creature that is at the bottom of the ocean uses its light, because that's a big thing, is there's no light at the bottom of the ocean. I love that they're drawn to light.
Yeah.
That's such a cool. It's not a far-fetched idea what these creatures are. They don't have superpowers.
No,
they don't.
They're extremely fast.
Yeah, they're not overly smart. Honestly, they're attracted to
chaotic.
light.
Yeah.
They're chaotic energy.
Yeah, they are. They just don't know what they're doing. They just want to fucking kill.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes for an epic movie. But you start wondering halfway through. You're like, okay, we watched that that station was like torn in half. We now know it wasn't an earthquake. It was to do with these monsters. Those monsters couldn't do that. So I didn't think that this movie had the budget, which it definitely didn't. But they did a good job at covering their tracks to show us the reveal of a fucking giant Cthulhu.
Exactly
And
that.
how I loved that. How you
It looked
could
terrifying. It looked like a metal
Oh,
album
when
cover.
you have the flare.
Oh yeah, I love when
you
you
see the silhouette.
I loved when you're looking up and you see these creatures are coming out of, like, it just looks like a rock or something, and then it starts lifting up and you realize it's like one of its hands or its legs.
It's like its pores or
and
like
how
these,
all of these
extra
creatures are flying out
Which
of its
is another,
body.
like, it reminds me of Cloverfield again.
Yeah,
because
it's
that's
totally-
from Cloverfield.
I think the creatures are very Cloverfield-esque. Like Courtney was like, what do they remind me of? I said Cloverfield. She's like, that's the one.
I did think that the smaller creatures looked like ball sacks, to be honest with you, but I could get past that probably.
I thought that there was, because they kind of had a scene. Remember when they find the escape pod and the guy's there?
Yeah.
Like TJ Miller finds him and he's like, this thing was eating him. See, I thought that was going to be kind of like a chest burster, back burster kind of deal. I just like the idea that the littler creatures just chew on people. I loved that.
Yeah. And I thought for sure that when the one character, Emily, I think her name was, when she brought like inside like the little creature, I was like, okay, that creature's going to attack someone, or like that's going to play a factor. And kind of never did. It was just like they were inspecting it, like, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was going to have a much bigger payoff from that. And
But I
I'm
liked
fine
that.
that it didn't.
Exactly.
I love how he's just like, I'm just going to close this door now.
Yeah.
Like, scenes like that, because you do have a little bit of like, oh, don't go over there. And then he does it anyway. And you're like, it's fine. It was fine.
And I think that worked to put a little bit of realism in this very unrealistic film. It's like, okay, he wanted to close the door because he's scared. Sure. Okay, I'll
I
take
actually
that.
think that the trailer gave you a different movie than what it ended up being, and I'm totally fine with that. Because they made it seem like it was one of those things where, like, we're going down for a week doing our shift underwater, when
Right.
actually it's like a
they're
full
down there for
working
Yeah,
like,
whole operation.
world.
Yeah.
I liked that. And then they made it seem like TJ Miller was going to play music and they were going to have a good time for a lot longer.
Yeah.
If you actually listen to the trailer, and it was literally like 2 seconds of him being like trying to give some levity to the scene.
I forgot that for a brief moment they play Avril Lavigne's cover of the SpongeBob SquarePants theme.
Oh my god, I forgot about that too.
Oh my god, that was sick though. Me and my girlfriend looked at each other like, wow.
Did
What
Caitlin
a-
like this movie?
Yeah, she had a good time. Well, she's
good.
a huge Kristen Stewart fan.
Yeah,
Like,
she's good, man. But the thing is, she cheated on my boy.
we'll get past it. It's chill. But she's into girls now, so this whole time we were both
Is
like,
she?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that.
The whole time we were like, just make out with that Emily girl. Just
Oh yeah,
plot twist. Let's get it going.
have more intimate moments.
yeah, they're both attractive.
But the one part of this film, like I was mentioning earlier, that I thought for sure, okay, this is where things are going to get convoluted or like maybe a little bit too heavy-handed, was as soon as Kristen Stewart's character witnesses like the captain get killed, and she's alone for the first time, and she goes into like that kind of like separate drill that didn't really have any hope, but it was just a place to kind of like
the abandoned station that the captain used to work at.
Yes,
I
yeah.
loved that scene.
When she goes there, I was like, okay, she's gonna find some shit. Maybe the captain like was trying to kill them, and he knew all along.
the secret formula or
like,
something. Yeah,
or
shit
like
like
she's
that.
something stupid's gonna happen here. No, she just like reconvenes, finds some weapons, relaxes, and gets the fuck out of there. I was like, that's brilliant. This is for sure where I thought that movie was gonna be some bullshit.
That whole scene where she's looking at her suit and she's like, mine's fucked, and she sees that old one, and they do that whole like it's a mini montage, but it doesn't feel like a ridiculous. It felt like it made sense.
Yeah,
or at least it like, I don't know, it prolonged the story in a good direction.
And it
like,
also gave the captain a little bit more character when it shows that his daughter died.
it's true.
Because you're wondering why he made such a she's 14.
Why would you forget his age?
Yeah.
I like how he was kind of, you could tell it's either he's under a lot of pressure or he's hiding something or he's like going kind of nuts. That's what I like.
I thought even immediately was a little bit more convoluted when he was like first sitting in the circle with all those pods. I thought he destroyed the pods for some reason.
So it reminded me of, I think it's Sanctum.
Yeah, I haven't seen Sanctum.
Because they kept talking about how like you lose your mind underwater.
Yeah.
That's what I thought is that he had like ejected all the pods or something. Yeah. But he ended up being a fine character that actually does help a lot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. There's so many things.
I mean, they're all a little disposable to a degree, and I mean that's kind of where this movie isn't really great. Yeah. But at the same time, they're not offensive. It's fine.
What's the rating for this movie?
I think it's R.
It's.
No,
I think it's 14A. I think it's 14A.
That's something I noticed is that they had scenes with implied gore, but there was never really any violence that was over the top.
PG-13.
And that's the thing is that we're talking about like, PG-13 movies can't be scary. This is a movie that did show that there are stakes and that your characters are going to die without giving you ridiculous, because like that scene with TJ Miller where they keep attaching to each other the line.
Right. Yeah,
and then he ended up getting his, like, I think it's his leg gets ripped off. And
all
you
gets like
see,
tied around or something.
Yeah, and all you see is the blood in his mask.
Yes, that was sick.
That was such a smart scene.
Yeah.
You didn't need ridiculous like death scene for that.
No, I did like when that dude just imploded.
Yeah,
like that was
that was
when
also
his mask is like crackling.
The pressure. I thought that was a cool scene because you knew something was up when he was looking at the helmets.
Yeah,
I did love that scene happened because it made him actually a likable character.
Oh, and that reminds me of something that I actually liked a lot about this movie. It was actually the sound design was pretty good. I think overall, like, it was pretty well thought out, and it wasn't gratuitous like jump like scare sound effects. I mean, they were there when they were kind of warranted. I
don't feel like any of the jumps.
It didn't feel super cheap.
No, it didn't feel cheap.
I think the studio did this movie dirty.
I think so too.
Like, I think
that's the thing.
It could think about how successful this potentially could have been on July.
Oh, totally.
Like if you put a movie like this,
it felt like a blockbuster.
Absolutely.
It's a movie that I definitely think it's not deserving of the January, but I'm also happy that it's in January because it's a good way to start the year. It's to know, like, I don't know, because for me, every time like January movies, I look forward to them because like sometimes they're so bad.
They're a grab bag.
Yeah, and it's a definitely mixed bag. But the thing is, it's always cool when something special like this. I like that thing.
I think this is honestly. I do think this is a special because how often do we get underwater movies that are actually?
Yeah, I expect this thing to be far worse, and I do think like they from what I understand, they basically shelved this movie for 2 years. I think
they didn't have much faith in it.
I think they were trying to get rid of the TJ Miller stench, to be honest.
Actually, maybe that's
really what I think.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because it'd be almost you'd have to scrap this movie if you were going to get rid of him. Probably.
Yeah. No, you can't just take him out.
And I would say the editor's benefit, I feel like he wasn't in the movie as much as I thought he was going to be. He died relatively early on.
Who?
TJ Miller.
Oh yeah.
Like I mean,
I was so happy when he died.
I could have done with less of him still, but even then, it was like they kind of got rid of him at the right time.
I like that they added the little thing with his plush thing and how everyone had to keep carrying that. I thought that added a little bit to his character.
I thought it was.
I liked it in theory, but every time I remembered which character it belonged to, I was like, oh, fuck him.
It was unnecessary. It was just like, oh, look, he's zany. And I'm like
if it belonged to the Paul character, the other guy, I would have, or whatever his name was.
And if it was like his daughters or something like that.
Sure. Then I would have cared more. But the fact that it was TJ Miller's like weird stuffed animal, I don't know.
Also, okay, if you were to pick who was going to survive in this movie, I did not see that coming at all.
I actually agree with you. Yep.
You had the reluctant girl who didn't want to do it. It reminded me a lot of like
the blooming couple was not who I expected.
Yeah, no, but like you know how the girl is like she's terrified the whole time, and you think she's gonna be the character who like fucks something up because she's terrified.
I love when Kristen Stewart punches her in the face.
Yeah,
like, I'm sorry, but like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, but like I think that's a cool idea is that she was the character you expected to die the whole time because she sees something, or like I thought she was gonna blow up her suit by accident, something dumb. But she actually ends up getting pushed through.
Or she was going to start running when she shouldn't have ran.
Yeah. That's what her character should have been, honestly.
I like
that it wasn't.
Yeah, and see, that's what I did like that as much as it, like, I couldn't understand what was going on with when Kristen Stewart and Vincent Cassel get picked up, and then T.J. Miller and her are still on the ground or whatever.
And that was the other guy. T.J. Miller said by this point.
It was Jeffrey.
It was Smith.
John Gallagher Jr. Yeah. But I loved that
Paul,
when she finds her, she's just like fucking terrified, lost,
talking to
Can
herself.
you imagine how fucking scary that would be?
Absolutely.
So I love that. But Kate, let's get to the. I think because we're kind of talking some circles here. Let's talk about the very ending here, because I was talking about this with John earlier on, because John went and saw it last night,
right?
And his main gripe was, who the fuck has a building that has a self-destruct button? And that's where I'm like, yes,
it doesn't.
But it kind of doesn't.
That's not a self-destruct. Nuclear reactors will do the exact same thing that thing did, because they overheated it.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah.
It wasn't.
I don't know. She was playing with knobs, and she just put all the knobs up.
But it wasn't. It wasn't like that's. This is the exact. It's from Alien. This is the exact.
It shows
same
the blast radius of what it's gonna.
Yeah. This is that's
kind of convenient.
It's the exact same thing that Alien does, because Ripley overheats all the cores.
Yeah.
Which is what they do in this movie. It's not like.
See, it is just honestly, it does not pay homage. It does blatantly steal from Alien.
Like, I understand where you guys are coming from, but there isn't a scene where she's going like flipping switches and goes self-destruct. You see that she's overheating the cooling system. Yeah. That's why it does that.
Yeah, I guess so. I
think it checks out enough, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't care really, like, because I was just like, that's what you expect from movies like this. Like, I expect worse.
I expected a lot worse. And yeah, sure, I guess a segment like that is very convenient, but I don't know.
It's also smart how they made the characters progress. I like the idea that they had like the checkers that said 29, like I think it was meters. But or miles, whatever, where they had to walk along the bottom. But it was like they were at 29, and then all of a sudden you saw they were at 2, and you're like, oh, they're close to something. It makes sense that it wasn't that they were completely lost, because then when you see the overarching, because this thing was huge, like the whole underwater base or whatever. But I liked that it made sense that like she was following power lines, or like I liked that randomly you found a giant squid down, which was actually scary.
Oh yeah, I love squid shit too. I love tentacles. I love Cthulhu stuff.
But like I loved that it was a random scene, and you never got that again. It was just like, oh shit, that was a squid.
No, like, and that's the other thing. So this movie could have gone in two directions. It could have ended up being the way that it is now, as a pretty decent above, average, slightly above average sci-fi horror movie, or it could have been like, I think you might have a little soft spot for this movie, but I tried watching again recently, and I think it's fucking unwatchable as The Cave. Like, this is very, it has similarities.
The Cave is not bad. I don't mind it.
Yeah, see, I didn't like it, but the thing is, I think Underwater is like way better.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I'm like, this is the kind of shit. I don't know. Bottom line, I dug it. I think it's much worse movies that you should go check it out.
Yeah, I think this.
I want to own this movie, and I want to watch it again, because there was a lot of cool things in this.
Yeah, this is just very much like it would have had to. I said this in my like Letterboxd review, which I want to also point out that. Especially in 2020, I know Boozy's not as active on Letterboxd, but Kyle and I are almost.
I'm trying to.
Yeah,
I haven't watched that.
Yeah,
much,
we log everything that we watch.
Absolutely everything I watch is on there.
Follow us on Letterboxd. It's a great app. I found out about a lot of great movies because of that app. I love it. I like it. It's my favorite form of social media. It's where I can go to just talk about movies. This year, I'm trying my best to just do little tiny reviews. I'll do my long form reviews on horror movies on the show. But
I'll usually give a line.
Yeah,
I'll do a one-line.
Something like that. Just a basic thought.
Oh yeah, that actually reminds me. Do you think the fact that they kept talking about moon pie for some reason?
Yeah, I loved you're like, I really want a moon pie.
I feel like that is probably another homage to Alien, right? Like talking about something from outer space. Like, oh, I really want a moon pie right now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's going to be an exciting year.
Very specific product placement. I can appreciate that.
Also, what do you guys? I know you guys kind of said like you didn't really enjoy the ending. I actually
was fine with it.
I loved the speech that she did. I loved the sense of like.
It didn't bother me much, honestly. Like this whole film and generally, like how I generally feel about it. None of it pissed me off, but none of it like blew me away. Like, wow, that's so insightful. It was just a entertaining experience.
But also, like, what I want to get at is like how the actual ending is, where it ends the way it started with newspaper clippings. I thought that was really cool because it didn't go into like you see them crying and all this stuff. It was just like, let's end with random facts.
I don't know. I feel a little bit weird about that. To be honest, both the opening and ending with those newspaper clippings felt a little cheap to me. But at the same time, like I can't really give what I would do better. So
welcome to the Terror Table, Kyle. You're going to be seeing a lot of that shit.
All right, fair enough.
That's the thing is those are just horror movie tropes that just aren't ever going to go away, and you got to be like that's the thing. What I was getting at with before I started talking about Letterboxd, because I said this, and I think it can apply for Boozy. This movie would have had to commit some major cinema sins for you and I to not eat it up. Like there's like this is very much mine and Boozy's thing. That's why it's another awesome reason to have Kyle at the table. Is while in this case you are having a very similar opinion to us, there are going to be times where you're going to
might
disagree.
not happen all the time.
Yeah. No. When I saw this trailer and I knew that we were talking about it, I'm like, I don't think this is going to be Kyle's thing. Like really,
I'm happy you enjoyed it.
It was just so like inoffensive that there's no way I cut into like. There's nothing I could really sit down and say this was fucking shit. Like I just couldn't. Like,
but it's funny is that like you haven't been here that long, but it seems like for the most part we all have kind of liked or disliked the same things, but for various different reasons.
I'm getting nervous for what's to come though. I feel
I'm excited for it. I want you to fucking defend the Scream 4s of the world.
Like I said a little bit earlier, like I was ready for this movie to be complete trash. Like as we were walking in, I told Caitlin, I was like, honestly, this movie might suck. She's like, I know, I kind of think so too. But we walked out of it, we were like, that was fun. Like that was cool.
What was that movie we had an argument about? Was it Before I Wake?
Yes.
Was it before?
Yeah,
like,
Before
I want to
I Wake
have
was-
another one of those.
No, that was too far. There was a lot of personal shit. Yeah, like but that was the biggest fight we had.
I like disagreeing with people, and
I know, but I want to disagree for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I agree.
Sometimes we say things just to piss each other off.
I just mean with like Kyle. I want something where I'm like, Kyle, this is shit, and you're gonna go, this is amazing. I want that conversation.
I can't wait for that too.
Yeah.
But you should definitely check out Letterboxd because I'm very active on there.
Yeah, so
I gave this a 3, no heart.
I think I gave this a 3.5 or a 4. I
Mine's-
really like.
Yeah, mine's a 3. But yeah, so I'm Mitch Oliver. You can just look up Mitch Oliver. You'll see I have like a little bio. It'll say I'm the Terror Table host, or one of the co-hosts of the Terror Table. So you can follow us there. Follow Boozy. What's your Letterboxd account?
Mine's Boozy Terror, and my thing is Blue Crush 2 Enthusiast.
Yes,
I'm actually trying to use this more. So.
Yeah. So and that's why. Oh yeah, I want to point out too that you know how I was keeping track of how many movies I watched in 2019. I did the entire time.
Oh, I'm gonna do that this year just by making a list on Letterboxd.
Guess what I got to?
I'm gonna say.
Keep in mind, I include seasons of TV shows, so those are like 10 episodes.
Okay, can I get one hint? Is it 3 digits or 2?
3.
Okay, I'm gonna say
2.
I'm gonna say.
I watch 2 in a month. 2 digits.
114.
114.
Yeah.
Kyle, do you want to take a guess?
Because originally I was gonna say 78. But
I put this on Letterboxd, so I don't know if you read it.
I'm gonna say 215.
215, 114. 350.
Holy shit.
That's including TV shows.
That's huge, man. No,
I was gonna go like 78 because I think that's a lot.
Oh, dude, I was trying to watch 365. I was trying to watch 700, like 720. I'm like, okay, that's just not doable.
No.
But I'm doing the same thing this year. I want to watch 365. I want to watch 360.
So those were diary entries. That's how many like things you logged in.
I've been doing this on Letterboxd and on my phone. So look at this. This is I literally every time I walk out of a movie,
Holy
like on here.
shit.
But keep in mind, I watched Fubar 2 twice.
Right.
So that's all.
I logged 88 last year.
Oh.
So
Okay, well let's pull up our socks. Let's become a real podcast here, you boys. Let's watch lots of movies.
Wait, mine's Kyle Zur, by the way. It's KYLEZUR. I don't have a cool little Blue Crush enthusiast thing yet.
Put Terror Table on there though.
Yeah,
Your co-host of the Terror Table.
put Terror Table co-host on here as well, so people know. So for those of you who find me, you know it's the right Kyle Zur.
Yeah. Cool. Other than that, let's log off, boys. So we don't know what we're gonna do next week.
Yeah, we do.
Oh right.
Are we for sure doing that then?
Yeah. Bryson's already seen it. I'm still waiting for it in the mail. It should be coming next week. It's also, like I said, it's on YouTube if you want to watch it.
Okay, so do you want to maybe wait until you for sure have it? So should we do something
It's on
different?
YouTube. Just go watch it on YouTube. Honestly.
Okay,
I bought a copy. That's for my own thing.
What movie are we watching on next week's episode?
It's called The Sighting.
The Sighting.
I think it's from 2016.
Okay, Sighting from 2016 on YouTube, or I'm sure you can rent it on. If you can rent it, someone rent it.
Yeah, I'm just saying is like it's not like it was pirated and put on YouTube. It's freely out there on YouTube if you want to watch it. I'm not encouraging people to steal anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Noted.
So it's a Bigfoot movie, a Sasquatch movie. So we'll be talking about that next week. last thing is episodes are going to be a little all over the place for the next 2 months as I'm in my last year of school, and I just physically I have to focus on that. So I appreciate you guys being able to do a podcast. So we're doing this on a Saturday morning, now afternoon. I appreciate it, and we're going to try and keep an episode a week coming at you guys. So next week we'll talk about The Sighting. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of The Terror Table. Check us out Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Give us a follow. Give us a rating on iTunes if you can. Someone gave us a 1-star review, which is pretty hateful. So
love it. Give us more of that.
No, I don't give us fucking one. Like
1 star feels
I feel like if you're giving a 1 star, like you're going out of your way to do that. Like that's just like
I don't think quality wise we're 1 star though. Like
No.
honestly, if you don't like us and you don't like what we have to say, 2.5. I mean, we still have
Or
we
just don't
put a
listen to
little
us.
no, but we still put a little bit of effort into this. We're not a 1-star podcast. I'm just gonna be honest. We're probably like if you hate us, 2.5.
It's good to be confident in your work.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually I don't even know why I said it because I really don't give a shit. But it is like I don't know if you want to do that. It helps
if
us
we
out.
find out this person, maybe I can cancel them.
That would be great. Let's figure out who we're going to cancel. All right, so we'll see
That's
you guys.
my New Year's resolution.
See you guys next week on the Terror Table. Stick around for after the credits, where Boozy's going to ask the question of the week, which is going to kick us off for 2020. Thank you so much, and see you next week.
Toodles. Hello, everyone. Just going to mention that this is the question of the week for 2020. Hope everyone had a good holidays. So the easy one for 2020 this year, our first episode back, is let us know what you're looking forward to most for this year in terms of films that have been announced.